Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit about Shutterfly. If you're like us, you take a lot of pictures because you have a camera right in your hand all the time. How would you not take a lot of pictures? And we're taking all these pictures, more than we've ever taken in the history of the world.
What are you going to do with them all?
That's the thing. You used to get a solid picture, and then you'd look through them, and you could enjoy them. Now they're like back on your camera roll. You can't even find them. You don't want that. That's why the cool thing you need to do, and what I did, and I think it's pretty cool, is create a Shutterfly photo book.
Oh.
What I did, and you're going to enjoy this, Jimmy, because I haven't showed this to you yet, but took all of our pictures from being on tour this year.
Oh.
All live show pictures, us backstage, us on stage, doing all that stuff, and like some of the, just the venues and things, and made a little photo book out of that. Also, they have free 24-hour designer service as well. With their 24-hour designer service, a professional designer is going to lay out the book for you for free in just a day. Make something that means something with Shutterfly. Enjoy 40% off orders over $29 with promo code SMALLTOWN. See site for promotional details.
And now back to the show.
Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to get you styled up with Stitch Fix. Shopping's hard. It's hard. With Stitch Fix, you get a stylist, though, who understands your style, your size, your budget, and they do all the shopping for you.
Wow.
This is excellent. Shopping, I'm telling you, shopping and figure out your style, it's overwhelming. Let somebody help you when it comes to getting dressed. We don't know what we're doing, so we let Stitch Fix help us out. A Stitch Fix stylist there. They know what works on us. We get the prices that make us look really good, and it feels good. You get some confidence boost walking around knowing that you're looking decent here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we just give the stylist our sizes, style, budget preferences. We order boxes when we want, how we want, no subscription or any of that required. And they send called Just For Me pieces as well. Like, maybe you'd like this, and it's awesome. Outfit recommendations, styling tips. You keep what you love, you send back the rest. It's super easy.
Yep.
You can do it, and we are doing it because it's excellent. Personal styling for everyone. Get started today at stitchfix.com/STM. That's stitchfix.com/STM.
Now back to the show.
Did you know that parents rank financial literacy as the #1 most difficult life skill to teach? Meet Greenlight, the debit card and money app for families. With Greenlight, you can send money to kids quickly, set up chores, automate allowance, and keep an eye on your kids' spending with real-time notifications. Kids learn to earn, save, and spend wisely. And parents can rest easy knowing their kids are learning about money with guardrails in place. Try Greenlight risk-free today at greenlight.com/Wondery.
This week in Alturas, Florida, where a mysterious illness takes hold of a woman and it turns out to not just be the flu. Welcome to Small Town Murder. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Small Town Murder.
Yay!
Yay, indeed, Jimmy. Yay, indeed. My name is James Pietragallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I am Jimmy Whisman.
Thank you, folks, so much for joining us on another crazy edition of Small Town Murder. We are excited beyond words for this week. We have we're in Florida, so you know it's going to be crazy.
It's always nuts.
But this is extra Florida. This is we're going to call it extra strength Florida right here, I would say, if you put it on the shelf as a product. But before we get to that, have to thank everyone for the reviews this week. That purple icon, Apple Podcast reviews. We don't know why they help, but they do. They help drive you up the charts. Also Stitcher, too. If you listen on Stitcher, those reviews, they help a lot. We have no idea why. It's their funky algorithm, but whatever. So if you could do that, give us 5 stars. Doesn't matter what you say. Say you're following instructions. Say these guys are forcing me to do this.
We are.
Because we are. You're in a headlock right now. Doesn't matter either way. You are with earphones. It's sort of a headlock.
You're stuck.
So
you're here.
Yeah, so do it. It helps. We understand it takes 30 seconds. You got to sign in, but it takes a lot longer to put these episodes together. So thank you. That is much, much appreciated for everything you guys do for us there. Also, very important, head over to shutupandgivememurder.com.
Yes.
This is extremely important. At the end of the show today, by the way, when we're all done with the story, we are going to give you not the dates, but all of the cities we're going to be in this year.
Right.
And the tickets are going to go on sale next week before the next Small Town Murder comes out.
That's right.
So we're going to announce one day.
That is right.
Next day is pre-sale.
Right.
That's the way it works. Right. So if you want to get in on that, get the pre-sale or just, get the tickets before. Because some of these places, we are in smaller venues because we have to go other places and they're going to sell out fast.
It's strategic.
It's very strategic. If we didn't get to your city, it's not because we don't like your city, even if we might not like your city, but we'd still go there.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
And there are some very new ones on
There's
this
some
one.
new ones on there, but yeah, they map it out based on availability of clubs, dates. It all has to line. 8 things have to line up for us to be able to go to a different place. It has to be on a weekend where Jimmy doesn't have his kids.
Right.
It's literally the stars have to align. So it's not like, we don't want to go to Buffalo. It's not how it is.
I mean, it's true.
It's true, but we would still go. Trust me. We're going to Milwaukee tomorrow. We'll be in Milwaukee.
Right.
So you know what? We'll go anywhere,
Or today, if you're
listening on Friday.
We're
But
on the fucking plane right now.
do that, check it out, and you can go to shutupandgivememurder.com is where you buy the tickets and all that sort of thing. But to get your information early, ahead of time, follow us on social media at Murder Small on Twitter, at Smalltown Pod on Facebook, and at Smalltown Murder on Instagram. And that's that. And if you want to be an even bigger hero of ours, I mean, we gush it about these people at the end of the show.
It really is unable to really quantify in words.
Absolutely. Our producers who we love so much, you can become one of those very easily by going to patreon.com/crimeinsports or heading over to PayPal, and you can use our email address, which is crimeinsports@gmail.com.
Yes.
And you can make a one-time donation, and God is everything appreciated. Thank you guys for everything. And we will get to that at the end of the show. And we need to do the disclaimer, though.
Yeah.
This is a comedy show.
It really is.
It's a comedy podcast.
Yeah.
We're comedians. There will be jokes.
Yeah.
There'll also be death.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's a balance that we work here.
There will be both.
The stories are real. They're not embellished for comedic effect, or sometimes it seems like they are.
Yeah.
But no, we just find crazy stories and then tell them to you. And a lot of times the jokes kind of write themselves.
Yeah.
It's just the way it goes. But what we try not to do, what we go out of our way to not do, is we try not to make fun of the victims or the victims' families.
But why?
Because we're assholes.
Yes.
But we're not scumbags. That's how it works. So that sounds good to you. Awesome. If you think true crime and comedy and murder and jokes should just never be in the same place,
You're welcome to that opinion.
I guess you've never watched the beginning of a Law and Order episode when Jerry Orbach stands over somebody and says a sarcastic remark. But hey, if you don't want to live in the real world, that's fine. Thanks for trying us out. It's not going to work. But for everybody else who wants to have a good time and live in reality of life.
That's why that show's great, by the way.
That's what I mean. And we have homicide detective listeners a lot, and when you deal with death, there's a certain dark humor that takes place.
You
but
have
you
to.
don't have to make fun of the victim or the family, that sort of thing. Make fun of murderers, small towns, things like that. It's fun. We have a good time.
Yep.
If you want that, if you're into that, you're in the right place. I think it's time to sit back and shout, "Shut up and give me murder." Let's do this, Jimmy.
Okay.
Let's go on a trip.
We may as well.
Let's do it.
Bags already packed.
We're here. Bags are packed, ready to go. Waiting for the Uber.
Yeah.
We are. We're going to Milwaukee very soon here, so this is actually very true. Let's go on a trip. We're going all the way to Florida.
Okay.
From New Jersey to Florida.
Yeesh.
Out of the frying pan into the fire. Good back to back.
Right.
New Jersey and Florida. I'm giving you late year panhandleness right here.
These two shows together are a grease fire.
That's what it is. That's exactly what it is. Out of the greasy frying pan into the greasy fire, which will flame up more because all that grease from New Jersey.
Good grief.
So we're going to Alturas, Florida, which you've never heard of, and neither have I. Nobody ever has. Alturas.
Oh.
Alturas. It's an unincorporated community in a census-designated place. Which
Great.
means nobody wants it.
Doesn't exist.
It just sits out there on its own. It's weird. Even like the population, they count like the next town over as their population.
Really?
There's really less people here. This is some weird backwater shit, Jimmy. We'll get into it.
It's in the middle.
Oh, it's in the middle.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's right smack in the middle.
Yeah.
We'll get to it. Orange groves, strange things. It's in the center of the bottom panhandle. I know that they consider Tallahassee, that's the panhandle.
Yeah.
Florida is 2 panhandles crammed together. That's all it is.
Yeah.
It's a double panhandle. This is the bottom panhandle.
So it's like near the dick hole.
Right smack in the middle of the state there. Just pow. Right like a target. And this is where you'd want to hit anything to make it go away. Yeah. This is the target you want to aim at here.
So it's north of the dick hole.
It's north of Miami. Yeah, we'll get to it now.
Not Miami, that fucking lake, the dick hole.
Oh, yeah, it's a little north of that. Okay. Yeah. It's an hour and 5 minutes to Orlando. Orlando's south of here. It's about an hour to Tampa. By the way, we'll be in both of those places in 2020 coming up again. Yeah, so we'll get to that. 2 hours and 15 minutes to McIntosh, Florida, which is our last Florida episode.
Really?
Episode 99, December 28th, 2018.
Almost a year ago.
Just about a year. Yeah, it's been since we've been to Florida, which we should go more to Florida for these episodes because it's always an adventure.
That's the state.
It's always an adventure.
It really is.
That's and they have a lot of murders down there too.
Fuck yeah!
Oh, just so many, and they document
hillbilly
them well.
And otherwise.
Oh, and everything.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Gangs and hillbillies and all sorts of people. It's in Polk County down there. Zip code 33820, area code 863. This area is 60 square miles. It's a huge, shitty, swampy, citrus grovey disaster. It's no man's land, Florida.
60 miles square of Florida that nobody wants.
Well, that's what Orlando was before Disney came.
Right.
When Disney bought that land, they were like, someone's buying this shit? That's hilarious. Like Disney had to buy it under different shell companies so people wouldn't know it was him buying it.
Really?
Because then they would have jacked the price up.
Yeah,
if they knew
true.
He wanted that land, they'd be like, well, now it costs more.
We know that guy's got it.
We know he's got money. We know he wants to build a park here. But instead, they were just selling off these SWATs to these companies that all were him.
Brought it all together.
And he bought, most of Central Florida, basically. Except for here. He's like, well, stop it there. We don't want any of that stuff. The motto here is, we're not even a town, so why would we have a motto? They're barely even held together. They have a post office and that's it. So the county history, we'll get into Polk a little bit. The 1900s, Bartow is the other town that's nearby. That's like a real town that's close by that they kind of count their population in with this town, in with Alturas, Florida. So in the early 1900s, they found the phosphate industry bought a lot of the land around Bartow there, and that became the county seat, and it was the hub of the largest phosphate industry in the United States.
Really?
So yeah,
phosphates are bad, right?
I mean, I don't know. I'm sure there's
it's a
positive
thing.
uses.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're not just pulling them out of the ground to poison people.
Right.
I'm sure there's
I don't know if Monsanto's got anything to do with it.
Yeah. Well, that's putting into the ground.
Right. They're putting it in, and then we're just pulling only the phosphate out.
Let's get that phosphate out. As we'll talk about, chemicals can be later on in this episode. Chemicals can be good and bad. As a thing. So this a lot of immigrants came here at first because of this industry. Anytime there's a shitty industry that's dangerous and dirty, people who need the most desperate people will take those jobs. So that was the early 1900s. This was the Italian immigrants and the Jewish immigrants and all the people that were coming at that point, Polish at that point. I think there was still a little bit of trickling in from Eastern Europe and places like that too, but they would take those jobs, and black people too from the rural areas that were, didn't want to share crop anymore. They'd go
marginalized minorities.
You could actually get a job and have your own place and not be, under somebody's thumb anymore. So you could do it. And that was, and you didn't have to go to Chicago or, Pittsburgh or someplace like that.
Big booming metropolis.
You could stay in the South and, still sweat constantly.
Well, yeah.
Who wants...
It doesn't matter what time of year it is.
My taint isn't quite sweaty enough all the time. I'd like to stay in Florida where it'll keep a year-round sheen on it. Really just a nice...
You notice, men's underwear disintegrates at that general area, and it's because
in Florida, an underwear lasts 3 washings.
God, Jesus.
3 washings, you got to throw it out. It's just done in the middle.
The crotch just liquefies.
There's burn marks around it where you're like, how did that happen?
You sweat acid.
I literally burned a hole in my taint. This is weird stuff here. Lot of racial issues happened in this area, especially in the Bartow area and in Polk County.
Is that why I've heard of Bartow?
Maybe they're famous for bad racial times there. I mean, they were hanging on to the 1800s, kicking and screaming all the way to the 1980s. I mean, they were liking it down there. There's a gentleman named Henry Scott, who was a black guy who was a porter on a train. While he was preparing some of the baggage or whatever. It was May 20th, 1920. He was preparing the passage for one of the passengers, a woman, and another woman who was a white woman, a wealthy white woman, was upset that he made her wait.
Oh, Jesus.
So she sent a telegram to the next station.
No.
And that the next station, he was arrested by the sheriff
For stealing her time?
for taking too long. I don't know. I don't even know what I don't even know what like
What's the crime?
a trumped up charge would be. You know what I mean? What do you even say the charge is? It's not even like she didn't even say like, and he whistled at me, and he did like some
it's just inconvenience.
whatever perceived slight at the time that would get people killed, or whatever To Kill a Mockingbird shit was happening at the time. This is a different thing completely. I don't even know what this thing is, but the sheriff arrested him, and rather than saying this is ridiculous and making a show of the arrest for the lady and I'll take him away, and then being like, yeah, she's fucking crazy, and then letting him go, which would be the smart thing to do, because he can't say, hey, fuck you, lady, because then she's a wealthy woman, he's gonna end up getting fired or something. So I get that he's in a tough spot, but maybe you go, oh yeah, she's a terrible man, and then you go over and you go, oh, crazy bitch, right? Yeah, I know. Just take the cuffs off and be like, go on your way, get out of here, here's $5, get yourself lunch on me.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
Like,
where I was leaning
sorry
right
about
there.
that. Jesus,
Here's $5 for your
fucking
inconvenience.
and she
I'm not going to steal your time.
This
too.
is crazy. Yeah, I mean, Jesus. Well, now you're going to file charges against her for making you wait.
Right.
So instead, this sheriff turned this young man over to an angry mob that shot him 40 times.
Get out of here.
Yeah, no, shot him 40 to 50 times and killed him, obviously.
Unreal.
For making a woman wait.
What year was that?
1920. Not 1820,
No.
which is still crazy.
Yeah.
Not 1620.
No.
If I heard this was 20 AD, I'd be like, yeah, that sounds biblical. That sounds like some weird Old
And
Testament.
even then, I'd
before
still be
that.
like, you'd think they'd have it together by then.
1920 BC, like some Old Testament shit you could see. I don't know, but this is fucking bonkers. A lot of citrus groves there. Polk County, for a lot of the 1900s, was the leading citrus county in the United States.
Yeah.
This is where all your oranges come from. You hear, the Florida orange commercials. This is what they're talking about.
How
here.
old was Scott? Do we know? Do we know how old that poor man was?
I think he was in his early 20s.
Unfucking
So,
believable.
young man who had didn't do anything wrong. I mean, he didn't even tell her to go fuck herself.
No.
Nothing.
No.
There was literally didn't like the fact that she had to wait.
That is helping somebody else.
It's bonkers, man. 1941, they built an airport around here in the northeastern part of the county, and that airport was taken over by the federal government during World War II and became the spot to train for a lot of the Army Air Corps pilots.
Oh, smart.
During World War II, because it was
That's great.
It's like in the Pacific. Florida is kind of a similar deal, swampy, shitty,
And I mean, you can get air training over the ocean, over water,
over
stuff.
over land.
That's great.
You can do that, and that was renamed Bartow Municipal Airport in 1967 when the government gave it back. They kept it till 67. Jesus, in the 1900s, the Ku Klux Klan, was revived and very active in Polk County. They were, I mean, they came back with a vengeance.
What
and this
year?
This is the 1900s. We're talking
1955.
Yeah. Into that. We'll talk about it. I mean, it starts 1900s with the poor man, Henry Scott, that they murdered, but that wasn't even the Klan. That was just an angry
That's just
mob.
a dude.
That wasn't even organized. That wasn't like the Klan came and got him. That was just the people hanging around. So, I mean, imagine what the Klan's like. If just the regular people are like, get him.
Your average civilian is a
Shoot
lunatic.
him 40 times. How dare he make her wait? Like, what the fuck is happening?
The Klan would have been like, y'all only had 40 bullets?
Jesus Christ, bunch of slackers, unprepared sons of bitches. So you never know when a feller's going to make somebody wait. So they were really active. The Klansmen were photographed in hoods and robes in 1958 in a church around here, and in the 1960s they were obviously also violent when the civil rights movement was going on. And 1967, a white guy shot and wounded, didn't kill, but shot and wounded a very popular black high school football player who was going to an integrated school. And he didn't like that he was so popular for being a good athlete.
Nothing.
No, that's the thing. Yeah. It's fucking
That's
crazy.
Bananas. In 1967, a black man can get shot for going to a non-segregated school. It's a school that's not segregated anymore, right?
No, it was an integrated school.
Right.
That's what they're mad about.
He's allowed to go there. He gets shot.
Absolutely.
And then tomorrow comes and everything's fine.
He's literally like, oh, cool, an opportunity to go to a better school and play sports and maybe become a... No, you're going to shoot him.
They shoot him.
Yeah.
He's wounded. He's winged. And then
he could have been OJ minus the murder, and instead they killed him because that was, well,
he was just wounded, right?
Wounded, they tried to kill him.
Yeah.
So between the end of the Civil War, between Reconstruction and right after World War II, more than 20 black men were hanged, burned, or shot in this area. Usually right after being accused of a crime, and never with a trial. Of course, this is just usually they would kill them.
Well,
there.
we know he did it, James.
It's fucking insanity, man.
Trial for what?
It's wow. The Klan group marched in Lakeland, Florida, nearby in full robe, in the full rigs, as they said in Reno 911 when they showed up at the county fair, and the guy was in his full Klan outfit. He goes, "In your full rig, really? I show up in your full rig, man? Come on, man, seriously." They
was it Junior that said that?
No, that was Dangle. Dangle, show up in your full rig. Come on, man.
I see Junior saying it.
It was funny.
Well, that's hilarious.
The Klan guy had a black girlfriend that he was there to propose to. That was the whole point of it, and it was.
He had to dress nice for it.
It's pretty crazy.
She didn't. His navy whites.
The whole thing was that she didn't realize that he was in the Klan. That was the joke of it all. She said, "This is way off the subject." But she said, "I met him in the club. He came in. He said he was going to set the place on fire." And I was like, "Yeah." And she was like, "I don't think." Dangle's like, "I don't think he meant that in the way you thought he did. I think it was." It's pretty funny. Yeah, that's Reno 911, which is brilliant, obviously. But yeah, you can't march in your full rig. That's crazy.
Yeah,
that's just fucking. That's crazy. What are we talking about? Maybe it's me. I don't know. In the South, that might be normal, but I grew up in New York, to hear of people marching in their full rigs and not being fucking pelted with bricks and
I can't believe they still exist.
That's what I mean.
Based on the fact that it's a fucking punchline.
Well, where I grew up, if guys walked down the street in their full rig, they would be lynched in the street in 2 seconds. Right. A bunch of Puerto Ricans and black guys would come and stab them, and that would be the end of it. Hey, fuck you, motherfucker. That would be the end of the fucking march. Done and over with. I mean, but rightfully. Yeah. I'm not saying because black people, Puerto Rican stab people, because these motherfuckers should be stabbed. It's fucking... I shouldn't say that. No. They shouldn't be stabbed. You shouldn't stab anyone at all.
Regardless.
Right. But,
certainly shout them down and make them stop marching, though. Yeah, Jesus
absolutely.
Christ. So stop showing how much you hate people.
But yeah. So it's crazy. So, but from 1990 to the year 2000, the unincorporated areas around here, like our place here, like Alturas, grew 25%, while the towns grew less. So the sticks, because it's so cheap out there too. You can buy land and you can live places here. So it's kind of it's just sprawl into the fields and into the citrus groves and shit. It's very, very weird here. But it's been the unemployment rate of Polk County is always higher. Like in August of 2010, the state had an 11% unemployment rate, and here it was 13.5%.
Florida had 11%
in 2010. Yeah, after after the huge crash and all that shit. There was bad stuff happening.
And they had 13.
They had 13.5%. So that's high, very high. Also, this is a lot of hurricanes around here. Also, this is a lot of storms. They call this is like Lightning Alley. They call it. This is you go through here.
It blasts through the coast, and they all end up there.
It's a lot of storms coming through here. This is like in Orlando. They say it rains once a day. It's going to rain at some point today. That's what they always say. They just don't know when and for how long. That's how it works there, and it's true. We were there. Fucking rains every day. So they built Legoland there, which was the site of the former Cypress Gardens. They did preserve a botanical garden section from the old Cypress Gardens, though.
You took Joey there?
No.
To Legoland?
No, I haven't.
I mean, not even California?
I haven't been to that one. No, I haven't been to that.
Fucking Florida?
No. I will be in Florida next year. Yes. At least twice.
Everybody I know says that shit is bananas. It's not good in a bananas. It's terrible.
Legoland?
Yeah. I've heard nothing but terrible things about it, that it's overpriced and that it's just Legos all day.
Well, how expensive are Legos? I mean, what are you going to... A Lego set, it's like $120. Yeah. So, I mean, you buy that and you're like, like, okay, we're not buying much more. That's about it today. Right? Like,
Fuck that place.
how much fucking more are we
I
buying?
don't want to be reminded of what I stepped on in the dark too. Like that place,
yeah.
that's a PTSD triggering park. The entire fucking place is pain inducing in the middle of the night when I have to piss, and I've got to step on those shits that are lining my hallway.
Oh God,
I hate those things so much.
Everybody does. Yeah.
They're a lot of fun when you got them contained and you're playing, but with your kid. But
my son's obsessed with them.
I can't believe they've gotten
autistic
to where
kids
they
like
are
Legos.
too. Can you imagine inventing a toy that you can build a fucking land around? That's
it's
amazing.
crazy.
Good for Mr. Lego.
I gotta get my son into like some sort of professional Lego. Dude, he takes the box, he puts them together like it's like he's in fast forward. It's insanity.
You can just look at the does he even look at them?
He's looking at the instructions, but he's grabbing Legos and placing them like as he's it's
what the shit?
Fucking crazy. I've never seen it. It's nuts, dude. It's wild. Yeah, I'm
sitting there going, but where? How? How does that do that?
And then he asked me to help him. I'm like, I'll sit here with you, but he gets mad at me. I'm looking for something. He's like, Dad, you're holding me up. Here, put it here. There we go. Step 2. Move your ass. I'm like, Jesus, sorry. Fuck, dude. So
I've got it like sprawled out with like my glasses, and I'm holding it real close to my face. I'm like, is that the light blue one or the clear blue one? I don't understand.
I never get it. So reviews of this town. I found some reviews.
Yeah.
They're weird. They're weird. Here's a 1-star review. Quote, "We have no restaurants where I live. I live in a small town, Alturas, but there is not Alturas mailing addresses, so I have a Bartow address." 1 star.
So
Okay. There's not a lot of restaurants and you don't have a mailing address, so 1 star, I guess. I don't know.
That sounds like a you problem, sir. It sounds like your fault.
It sounds like a telegram for help is what it sounds like. We have no restaurants where I live. Stop.
I don't have an address.
I live in a small town, Alturas. Stop. But there is not an Alturas mailing address. Stop.
SOS.
It's fucking weird. Here's another one. Only way to have this is 3 separate reviews from the same person on the same day. Why do it 3 times? I don't know. All 1 star though.
Accidentally
driving the average down. Only way to have transportation is if you have a car. This all sounds like some weird Confucius shit the way they say it. I don't know. No one here knows how to write a complete sentence, or grammar's not.
He starts that sentence with the word only.
Only way to have transportation is if you have a car.
That's not right.
Next one, okay? Next, this is the next total review. Quote, "None, but you can drive 15 minutes to town and get a job."
Was that the question and answer? Did he answer his own question?
I think it might be a haiku. Let's see. Let's find out. I think we're talking about a haiku here.
What the fuck is happening?
Quote, "No gym or anything to exercise with. You just have to be motivated and do it yourself." All 1 star review. What does that have to do with anything?
He makes it sound like prison, though.
What's happening there? These are people that live there. They got on a computer and this is what they typed, man. Think about that shit.
One starting with only is my favorite.
Only.
No, maybe none. Maybe the one starting with none.
It sounds like, is he writing a haiku? Is that what he's doing now? Because this is
all riddles?
Doesn't make sense. People in this town, and like I said,
is he hiding like clues to a treasure?
Yeah, there's something. I feel like if it wasn't written on a computer, it would have been made with glued on magazine letters that they cut out like a fucking ransom note. So
like a Da Vinci Code.
Yeah, population, like I said, this kind of lumps in the nearby Bartow population too, but it's 4,090, up 45% since 1990. And where we'll be, it's nowhere near that.
Really?
It's really rural.
4,000 people live here.
In that 60-mile thing. Well, that's the next town. Less people live in this area here. It's male and females about on average. A few years older. Normal median age is about 37 in the rest of the country. Here it's about 42 and a half. So it's a little bit older. A few more married people. Not a lot of single people with no children. 4%. So not a big party town if you're going to look to get down with some single people.
There's no restaurants, James.
There's not even a restaurant or a gym. Where are you going to pick anybody up? What are you doing?
Even if there was one, you couldn't get you did get a DUI because you have to have a car.
That's the thing. You have to have a car and drive 15 minutes to go to town to get a job. Race of this town, 89% white. Yeah. Pretty white. 0.7% black.
That's interesting.
In Florida.
Yeah.
That sounds on purpose. Yeah. Maybe it's because the Klan marches through every once in a while. Like, you know what? I don't think so.
That ought to run everybody out, though.
Yeah, maybe Tampa's nicer. I mean, they got roosters running around everywhere, but it's still better than the Klan. Fuck. 0.0% Asian. None.
None.
How does that happen ever? And okay, it's normally 5%, so
Right.
that's way low. 8.9% Hispanic too. Not even a lot of Hispanics. Again, this shit sounds on purpose. 41% of the people here are religious. The majority of those people are Baptists, as we know. Baptists are the Catholics of the South, my friend. 0.1% Jewish. In Florida.
Yeah.
There's no black people or Jewish people.
Right.
That shit's on purpose.
There's a problem.
There's a problem.
You have a reputation.
Yeah, there's an issue here. In the last the elections here in the county, 41% Democrat, 55% Republican, about 4% Independent. Unemployment rate is a little bit high, but it's over 4%, but that's still super low, even though it's high for the rest of the country right now. Median household income, $57,000 is the normal. In the rest of the country here, it's about $43,000. More construction jobs kind of than anything else. And there's not a lot of white collar jobs.
Lots of labor stuff.
It's a lot of labor and working in that sort of thing. Yeah, outside. A lot of outdoor activities here. Cost of living, 100 is regular average. Here it is 85. So it's a little bit low. And the main low thing is housing, which is a 53.
It should be lower.
I would say. Yeah, because your house is going to sink anyway.
If it doesn't sink, it's going to blow away.
It's eventually something's going to happen, or be eaten by a gator. A median home cost here, $122,200. So very low median home cost. There's homes. I mean, we're talking almost 25% of the homes are worth under $40,000.
Really?
Yeah. So there's some, and there's also $1 million homes here too. There's also an average amount of $1 million to $2 million homes. So people have come out here because there's land and they've built big houses, and then there's people with shacks that have had that shack there forever.
There's people that want to get away from everybody, and they have a bunch of money, and there's other people that have to get away from everybody because of federal warrants or something.
Warrants. There's nowhere else to go.
Jesus.
The only place they can get hired is the citrus field. I don't know. If we've convinced you somehow that you need to be here, I don't know if you got your Klan robe and out of dry cleaning and you're ready to go. We have for you the Alturas, Florida Real Estate Report. Your average 2-bedroom rental here is about $952, which is high compared to it's lower than the average, but high compared to what it should be for cost of living. Found a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, 936 square feet, a stately manor. Unfortunately, that state is Florida, so it's a trailer. It's $24,000, and it's a shithole, by the way.
I'm sure of it.
It does have the corrugated steel on the bottom to make it look like a house. I found a 3-bedroom, 2-bath.
I do love that touch.
Yeah, it's a nice touch.
Hide the wheels, quick.
This is 1,110 square feet. This is an actual house.
Okay.
$143,000. It's actually attached to the ground and everything. Then I found a 3-bedroom, 2.5-bath, 2,000 square feet. It's a nice house. It's updated. It's on 2.5 acres. So you have a little bit of room. $225,000 for that. So
2.5 acres?
Yeah, very reasonable to live there. I mean, obviously, you'd have to be.
You can't buy 2.5 acres anywhere in the state for that money.
No, fuck no. I mean, in Arizona, you could go to the middle of the desert somewhere.
Yeah, but I mean, with a house that's nice on it, you're not getting
You
that.
wouldn't be like, there wouldn't be electricity there or anything. That's the problem. Things to do here. They have the Bloomin' Art Festival. I guess it was the change it from the Bloomin' Onion Festival, and Outback got mad probably.
When they found out the Klan was here, they're like, we can't sponsor that.
They said they have everything from antique cars to paintings and restored violin. Oh. Okay, that's an odd specific thing to have.
Is it like orange blooms? Is that kind of the thing?
I guess, the Bloomin' Art Festival here. The children's tent will be open throughout the entire festival. Watch out for that.
Creepy.
I don't know what they're doing in there. Arts and crafts, face painting, etc. I don't know what that etc. is.
Go down there and get your children.
That's right. And also they have the Just Say No parade. They're still doing the Just Say No parade. Okay. Just say no if you don't know, if you're a foreign listener or you're just a younger listener. Right. There was a big campaign in the 80s where they said, we got to stop drug use among teens. I got it. Just say no.
Right.
And that was the whole thing. And that was going to solve the drug problem.
Did it start in 86?
85, 86. Yeah, it was the Len Bias thing. Was a big kicker for it. And Nancy Reagan took it.
Yeah,
and that was her
wow,
thing.
what a waste of Len Bias.
Just say no. Yeah. And then after a while, after about 5 years, when, drug use didn't move at all, because that's a stupid thing to thwart drug use with just say no, everybody laughed at it and went, that's ridiculous. Florida said, let's keep doing the parade forever. So
meanwhile, it was hilarious for people to wear the Dare shirts and smoke weed.
Oh yeah,
that's fucking hysterical.
That's the thing. Yeah, and you saw a lot of that in the 90s.
Tons of it.
28th. I don't think it's working, guys.
No.
It's so. Crime rate in this town, what we're here for. Property crime right around normal, maybe a touch high, but whatever, not right around normal. And Mount Rushmore of crime, violent crime, murder, rape, robbery, and assault, just about normal again.
Okay.
So they're right around in the ballpark of normal in the range of their margin of error, I would say. So let's talk about a murder. It's a weird one.
Yeah.
This is some strange, weird. You're gonna mix. Wow, I can't even set it up. I just have to tell it because it's fun.
Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you about the safest sponsor ever, Simply Safe. Absolutely, these people will keep you safe. It's amazing. You know that every 26 seconds a burglary takes place in the United States, according to the FBI. That means that by the time this podcast is over, dozens and dozens of homes will have been targeted, ransacked, God knows what happens here. So protect your home before it's too late with Simply Safe proactive security system. Simply Safe helps stop threats before they even have a chance to break in. Named Best Home Security System by U.S. News and World Report 5 years in a row. And by us for about the last 8 years as well. If you trust us, believe me, you want Simply Safe. So visit simplysafe.com/small to claim 50% off a new system with professional monitoring plan and your first month free. That's simplysafe.com/small. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Now back to the show.
This show, Small Town Murder, is brought to you by BetterHelp. Get yourself some therapy, everybody. Honestly, here. We often hear about, red flags that you should avoid. Hey, that's a lot of a thing. It's become a real phrase now, real cliche. Yeah. But why don't you focus also, you look at like green flags in friends and partners. Look for good things as well. Right. And maybe you're not sure what that looks like, though. Therapy can help you figure that out. What are positive things? What are the green flags? And then you can practice them in your relationship. It's absolutely a fact. And so, honestly, we absolutely are huge advocates for this. It really, really helps. BetterHelp is fully online, making therapy affordable. It's convenient. They serve over 5 million people worldwide. You can access a diverse network of more than 30,000 credentialed therapists, wide ranges of specialties there. Here's the coolest part. You're not getting along with your therapist, you're just not feeling it, you can switch at any time, no extra charge.
Wow.
The thing is, they want you to get help. That's it. And you can do it with BetterHelp. Discover your relationship green flags with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/smalltownmurder today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
Fucked up, man. Let's talk about a couple of people first. Let's talk about some people who lived kind of out in the middle of nowhere in Alturas. And first, we'll start with Peggy Carr and her husband. His name is Per Erlin Carr.
Go ahead and spell that.
Pearlyn.
That's his first name.
That's his first name.
Perlin?
Per Erlin, I guess. Per Erlin. He goes by Pie.
Which, huh?
P-Y-E, pie.
Which also, no.
It doesn't, whatever.
No,
so
he doesn't know how to spell pie.
But when that's how he spells.
Neither pie, by the way.
Funny thing is, when I hear pie and I think of a hillbilly that lives in the middle of nowhere in a trailer, I think of High from Raising Arizona.
Yeah.
That's what I think of. Nicolas Cage with his hair fucked up, looking all.
He always looks like he just woke up.
What happened now? Yeah, just son, you got a patty on your head. That's what I picture in this guy, but. So that's in my mind. Yeah. I'm picturing those two right now.
Pie. Oh, boy.
So, yeah, they, Perlin, we'll call him Pie.
We may as well.
Peggy and Pie Carr.
Yeah.
Pie and Peggy Carr.
Jesus.
Sounds like a 50s.
What year is this?
This is 1988 we're going to start with, okay? I mean, seriously.
With Peggy and Pie.
With Peggy and Pie Carr. Pie and Peggy Carr. Yeah.
Ridiculous.
They got married in 1988, and Peggy moves into Pie's home, which is out here in Alturas, and it's basically it's an orange grove out there, and it's a bunch of orange groves, and there are two homes right there, and then the nearest neighbors are a little over a quarter mile away.
My God.
So it is remote. So it's you better
your kind of place.
I love it.
Minus
minus the next door neighbor
and all the Florida that's around here.
And all the that's this would be great if it wasn't for all this Florida. So look, a lot of Florida around here, right?
What is it? A little too much for me.
Hold on, let me get the binoculars. I said, what is that over? Oh, it's more Florida. No, fuck, never mind. Yeah, too much Florida.
It's a bit much on the
Florida. A lot of Florida,
yeah.
And to be stuck with. You better like those neighbors.
Oh boy.
Or they better be shut-ins or like elderly or something.
They better not argue with you because the closest person to their savior is a quarter mile away.
That's the problem. It's ridiculous. So, Peggy moves in. Now, Pie, if you want to call him Pear, Pie's son, Travis, and Peggy's son, Jesus Christ. Travis is Pie's son, and Dwayne Dubberly is Peggy's son.
Yeah.
So, Travis, Dwayne, Pie, Peggy, Carr. There are only three of them are Carr. But
of course, there's a Dwayne involved.
A Dwayne and a Travis, too. Yeah. So, Reno 911, his name is Travis Jr.
Right.
That's the one guy. So, this is all fitting in very well.
This is good.
Pie, Travis, Dwayne, Peggy, they all live out here at this place here. In 1988 here, after they get married, Pie renovates the garage into an apartment and then moves his daughters in as well.
Oh, no.
His daughters, Delina Shiver, Tammy Reed, and then his granddaughter, one of his daughter's daughters, Casey. So we're talking about, this is a loaded up house, boy. I mean, it's out in the fields and it's loaded up. So we have the two adults and then we have Travis and Dwayne. So that's 4.
Yep.
And then we have 2 daughters. Right. That's 6 and a granddaughter. 7 people living. It's not a huge house.
No.
It's not, I mean, 7 people's not a huge amount for life, but I mean, he had
Is that not a lot of people under the same roof? That's
if you had
shitload of people.
If you had like a big house, if you had if you're like the Kardashians, a bunch of them live together, but I mean, it's like a 7,000 square foot house. Who the fuck has one of those? So.
Even 4,000 or 5,000 square feet? 7 people is a lot.
That's a lot of people, and I wouldn't know, but yeah, either way, that's a lot of fucking people. But here, he had to make an apartment out of the garage. So it's not set up for 7 people.
Right.
We'll put it that way. The house isn't made for 7 people. No. It's not like, plenty of room.
Right.
Convert the guest rooms. That wasn't it. Yeah, your sewing room is going to be the guy. I'll convert my study. It's fine. I'll take the books off the shelves.
Then throw a futon in there. Everything will be fine.
It's going to be great. I'll take my bison head off the wall. Take my smoking chair out of there. It'll be fun.
We'll let a couple of the kids use our bathroom in the morning, and we'll all get ready.
It's going to be great. No, there's a line in the bathroom.
Yes.
The bathroom here.
The bathroom.
You have to wait for grown people to shit before you can go in there.
Brush your teeth.
You smell several different grown people shit if you're like fifth to the bathroom.
While you clean your molars.
And their shit particles are on your toothbrush because it's floating through the air.
That's disgusting.
Disgusting, but it happened. These poor people. So, anyway, they're all there. It just sounds like a lot going on, but they sound like everyone says they're nice people.
Yeah.
They're not dicks. They're not, they don't bother people.
They're making it work.
I mean, obviously it's
not easy.
It's not easy. There's a lot going on.
Some challenges.
There's
James.
a lot going on.
Yeah.
Well, there's also the next door neighbor who is the only other people who live out there.
Okay.
So if those are your next door neighbors, you might be a little bit like, oh, Jesus Christ, all these kids. And, and the Dwayne and Travis are like teenagers too.
Oh,
so they're playing music.
Boys will be boys.
Yeah, they're fucking, they're teenage boys. They're going to be a little loud and shit like that. And their next door neighbors are 2 people here, married couple. George James Trepal is one of them, or Treple. I'm not sure how you say it, but either way, that's one guy, George Trepal, and his wife lives there also. And his wife's a doctor, Dr. Diana Carr, no relation to Pie Car. So that's what I mean. That's we'll not use the cars because it's going to be confusing. Dr. Diana, we got George, and then we got Pie and Peggy. We can't. They're P and P over there. So they live next door there to the property adjoining him and adjoining the Pie and Peggy.
And this is 88?
This is 1988.
Yeah.
So
the first time when playing music super loud was a thing. You know what I mean? When teenagers weren't encouraged.
70s. Yeah. This is
in
when
the 70s,
you crank it.
In the 70s you started to get there.
People started to be into their sound system, and I'm getting subwoofers.
But in the 80s, that's when it fucking exploded.
Well, they had the big. You could buy for $200. You could buy a stereo that had those big giant speakers in the 80s. Like
Sherwin Vega towers.
They weren't even that expensive.
No.
They were got down to
$88.
Yeah.
You got a pair of them.
Fucking giant
Loud
speaker.
as fuck.
And then if you're a teenager, years later, you take it out of your house. I had a friend of mine that
Put it in his car?
had a Blazer.
No.
He had a Blazer.
This is an
a Chevy
8-ohm
Blazer.
and a 4-ohm system that's entirely different.
He put a fucking house speaker in the back of his Blazer. Because he realized it was his parents' home, like living room stereo system that they bought in 1981 or something.
Yeah.
And this was like 1996. And he figured
found out there's a 15 in it.
Well, he figured out that it was real bassy one time when they had it on, and it was like classical music, he said, but there was bass, and he was like, this shit's bassy. So he took it from the house and put it in his car.
Holy shit.
And that was his speaker then. It was a house speaker.
Unbelievable.
And it was loud. People would be like, what do you got back there? He's like, house speaker. They're like, what? He's got a speaker from my living room.
You got a Harman Kardon back there.
Because in the 90s, people had these crazy systems.
Yeah.
And they'd be like, oh, I got two pile tubes with a 15 on the thing.
Got a Rockford Fosgate
and all this
back
stuff.
there.
You fucking shit talking about your amps. He's like, house speaker. Got it from my living room. We didn't give a fuck. He was
Mom's going to be pissed when she comes
pretty
home.
cool, right? It's fucking awesome. I don't think they noticed it. That's the fucked up part.
Why is there only one tower in the living room anymore? I wonder what happened to the other.
I don't even think they noticed it. It's one of those houses.
It's in the trunk of my fucking Corolla, Mom.
Yeah, no, he had a Blazer in the back of it. It was an SUV. Like a 91 Blazer.
Do you still have like the pictures of Grandma on it?
He laid it down on the side. I mean, Grandma would have fallen down at that point. He had to take the pictures of Grandma and the doily, of course.
Right.
But, eventually it just went in the house, house speaker bumping fucking Wu-Tang.
Oh, God, that's funny.
Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to fuck with, indeed. As told by my house speaker.
That's fucking incredible.
Jesus Christ.
How long did that take for that thing to just fucking disintegrate under the power of a car stereo versus...
he did something else to it, too. It was too much power, I'm sure, going to it.
You gotta be running an amp. Yeah,
shit
it's
was
just
pumping out of
shaking.
it. I was like, what is happening? It worked the whole time I was friends with him. I don't know about what happened afterwards, but
it's like a light on fire in the back seat.
At least a year and a half, he had that house speaker just
unreal,
bumping out the back of that thing. It was hilarious, but I mean, it is what it is, man. You do what you can do.
Bridging it down to 2 ohms and just blasting it out of the speaker coil.
What are you gonna do? I mean, he's like, I'm not buying a system.
Oh, that's hilarious, though. You can shoot a voice coil through the fucking back windshield.
Oh, yeah. It's great. He doesn't care. He was just...
He didn't give a shit. Whatever, man. It's loud.
He just threw it back there, turned it on. It was like, it's bassy. Cool. He got in the car. House speaker. Did you get a system? No, house speaker. Okay. So
kind of. My mom wasn't using it.
So then other people started being like, can I put my house speaker right there?
Mom, I'm taking the Sonys. They're going in the car.
That could work. So anyway, George and Dr. Diana here have they moved into their home in the early 1980s here. So, and Pi has lived here for a few years, and now he's brought in his new wife and her kids and his kids, and the whole brood is there. So things have changed. Now, in June of 1988, Pi is he gets an anonymous letter, which is an odd thing, I guess, right. And it's pretty aggressive, I would say. It's postmarked near Bartow, Florida, which is the next town over.
That could be next door, though.
No one.
Who's got an address?
There you go. See, well, maybe not, at least not that one guy,
right.
In the review. Now the letter says, quote, "You and all your so-called family have 2 weeks to move out of Florida forever, or else you will all die. This is no joke."
Oh boy,
that's the letter that he gets. He has no idea who it is, and he thinks it's just a prank. He thinks it's like maybe one of his son's friends, because he's got teenage kids. So he's like, one of these asshole teenagers saying this shit.
And move out of the entire
move out of
state.
Florida, it says. Move out of Florida forever. Yeah. So it sounds silly. Right. It sounds like a real, you got to get out of Florida forever, man. It's a real, get out of town. It's silly.
The direction in the first place is, it's ridiculous.
You have 2 weeks to move out of Florida forever. Doesn't sound like someone who's like marking date. That's fucking 12 days. He doesn't know. He's got 2 more days. Doesn't sound like it's that. It's probably, so he just disregards it as, that's some fucking white trash prank. Who cares?
Yeah.
Basically, whatever. Even though it says this is no joke.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure.
Specifically does say that.
It does say this is no, just in case you think it. And know what I said? He looked at it. Whoever wrote it was like, move out of Florida forever or else. Well, that sounds shit. That sounds
silly as fuck.
It's gonna silly. You know what? I better write that it's not. This is no. There we go. Okay.
Not a joke.
Not a joke. See, now they'll know, right? Is this better? It's better. Okay.
P.S. No sarcasm.
Showing it to people. Yeah. P.S. Not sarcastic. P.P.S. Seriously, dude. Exclamation.
Fuck out.
Yeah. Gotta go. The whole state. So now, the home is in Alturas that they live in, obviously, but the letter correctly lists the mailing address as being Bartow, because even if you live in Alturas, you put your address in Alturas and then you put Bartow as your city because it's Florida. Who the fuck knows? You're not getting mail. You put your address, but not the town you live in because... I don't know.
But the mailing specifically knows that.
But yeah, whoever mailed this, whoever mailed this to him knows that much about it. So it's, that's...
Make sure he gets it.
Yeah, they obviously knew. If it was like someone sending it as a joke from Oregon, they wouldn't probably know that. They'd go, he lives in Alturas, they'd write Alturas and his address. But they knew that, because his address, your address is Alturas, but your mailing address is Bartow. That's how it works. So yeah, if you're getting a pizza delivered, you'd say this, blah, 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 Alturas. Right. Not that they'll deliver the fuck out here.
There's no restaurant.
There's no restaurant. I forgot. Never mind. Sorry. Jesus Christ. This place, man. So, now Pi and Tripal, both of them, both have Bartow mailing addresses because they get their mail on it's the Bartow post office is where they get it out of. So, there's that. Now, October, a couple months go by because they get that letter in July. Yeah. The 2-week window goes by,
come and gone.
Come and gone. Nothing happens. I don't know. I guess
it is a joke.
I guess it's a joke. Yeah. I mean, what are you going to do? Yeah. Although at one point here in about September, both of their dogs get sick and die. Oh. Both of Peggy and Pi's dogs get sick and die.
Oh, no.
So they thought that was odd. But also, I mean, dogs get sick and die. That happens, and they run around outside. Right. They don't know if maybe they ate something from the groves
it's Florida. Who knows what fucking bit them?
Who knows? That's the other thing too. They don't know if they got bit. They really didn't know what happened. They just got sick and they died rather quickly, and that was it. They were dead dogs. So there was that. So that was very sad. And then finally, weird thing, October 1988, Peggy just gets a stomach bug.
Yeah.
Gets the flu and can't kick it.
Okay.
Just one of those things she can't kick, the stomach flu, and she's just got it. And I've had this shit where you have like a stomach problem for a while where you're just like, you feel like you have the flu, or it lingers.
Shitting.
It lingers for like 3 weeks. You don't eat right. You don't feel right. And it's one of those things. So she's got something like that, but it progresses. It doesn't get better.
Really?
It just constantly hurts. And she's just basically, she kind of starts getting laid up in the house, and because she's got a stomach bug, they also basically if you have a flu, there's not a lot of ways to treat that. If it's a stomach bug, you know what I mean? There's not much you can do for that. You can take a little Pepto or
Make sure you drink lots of fluids.
Drink lots of fluids. Also, I know for me, soda helps if you're throwing up the syrup. It's a coating mechanism, and the bubbles help and everything like that. So they just keep giving her, they have Coca Cola. They keep giving her Coca Cola. That's what she wants, so they give her Coca Cola. There's 8 packs of 16-ounce bottles they keep of Coca Cola in their carport there, and so they keep giving her that. We're like, maybe that's good. So, but it keeps progressing though. The Coke doesn't cure it, Jimmy.
No,
it's weird.
The Doc Hollywood solution.
I don't know what's going on. Yeah, that's what they saw. Doc Hollywood cracked it up and went, No,
drink the Coke, bitch.
Come on, but this is 1988. We're talking pre-Doc Hollywood.
We are. Yeah,
this is Michael J. Fox is still on a sitcom.
He's still wearing a red fluffy fucking vest.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, at that point, he's still making those. So October 23rd is when it gets worse and worse. She has nausea, pain in her chest, pain in her extremities, even difficulty breathing. Like, it seems like this must be just a world-class
malaria
kick-ass flu, and it's Florida, so who knows what the kind of weird mosquito diseases you can get down there.
Haitian disease.
Something from somewhere. Who the hell knows?
But blows in on a hurricane.
Some diseased mosquitoes blew in on a hurricane. So she's just feeling awful, and I mean, usually a flu doesn't progress like this. So she ends up going to the Bartow Memorial Hospital there and stays for 3 days. She stays for 3 days, and they end up sending her home, even though she felt a little bit better, got, fluids and shit in her and stuff like that, and thought she was going to sort of on the way to get better. Yeah. So they send her home.
They want her the hell out of there.
Well, yeah. I mean, Jesus, who knows what her insurance is?
We don't know if you're contagious.
Well, yeah, who knows?
We got to quarantine you if you stay much longer.
No shit, right? Yeah, we can't figure out your
right.
your weird stomach illness here. But that's the other thing too. They don't know at this point. So they send her home. At home, her symptoms get worse.
Really?
And rather than better. As soon as she goes home and kind of gets off the hospital care and the IVs and things like that, she starts to get worse, which is very, very strange here. And also, a couple of the kids in the home here, Travis and Dwayne, the boys, start feeling sick as well.
Oh, no, it's contagious.
And they start feeling similar symptoms, exact things. Stomach, nausea, pain in the extremities, trouble breathing, hardcore flu symptoms.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they're like, oh, shit, now other people have it.
Right.
Yeah, so, I mean, what is this the plague?
Right. Board up the windows. Get out of
That's
there,
what I mean. Get a fucking priest over there, blast rights over it, and board it up. That's it.
Stand outside with a shotgun and tell them, don't you leave!
We'll be back in 3 months to see who's alive. Whoever's alive in 3 months can come out.
And we'll treat you.
And we'll burn everything that you're wearing and all your blankets and everything like that.
And the body's left behind.
You can come on out. So it's going to work. So on October 30th, 1988, Peggy, Travis, and Dwayne are all admitted to Winter Haven Hospital.
Oh, no.
So they all go to the hospital. And this is under the urging of Carolyn Dixon, who is Pi's sister.
Yeah.
Pi's sister, it's her Peggy's sister-in-law. She's a nurse. Oh. And she just says, this is ridiculous. You got out of you went to the hospital a week ago. You got out after 3 days, and now you've been 4 days, and you're getting worse. Right. That doesn't happen.
And more people in the house are getting sick.
And they're getting sick, too. We need to find out what this is. Right. I mean, this could be the plague. We have no idea here. So, like, if the bubonic plague were to start in America, it would be here. Let's be realistic. It would be in the warm, in
the droppings of something.
The warm, sweaty taint of Florida is where it would be. It would incubate in there. The warm incubating.
There was a flesh-eating bacteria that just started to resurge, and it was in fucking Florida.
Of course it was.
Of course.
Yes, it's warming water temperatures. That's bad.
It breeds disease.
Lots of disease there, The warmer the water gets, the grosser it is, people. Strange. So, it's been gross down there. So she says something's not right here. You need to go to the hospital again and go to a better hospital and really figure this out. So they get there, they give her a battery of tests, your regular tests that you'd give to make sure she's, not diabetic, not this, not that, all the different things, and there's nothing out of the ordinary.
Right.
Same thing that happened last time. It's crazy. I mean, it seems to be the most persistent flu in the world.
Yeah.
But then while she's being examined, and the doctors are really ready to throw their hands up. They don't know, they can't imagine what the hell's going on here. And then while she's being examined, kind of at the end of the whole thing where the doctor's like, we tested her. We're just going to have to observe her a little bit more. And they're saying that. And then the doctor notices that she's got some like patches of thinning hair.
Oh no!
Like weird things, like her hair's been falling out. And she said, the doctor said, "Is this like, are you losing your hair? And like, is this a normal thing for you?"
Yeah.
Or she said, "No, my hair's falling out," and then noticed it was falling out.
Yeah.
So that's when the doctor.
That's gotta be a really weird, uncomfortable place to be a doctor too. Like
at
this point, because he's like just pointing out weird shit on her body. And
hey,
he's
what's
like,
that?
What is that?
Hey, your tits are weird. Is that normal? Or
Jesus, your feet are ugly.
Yeah.
What's
What's happening there?
No, they were like that before.
Jesus Christ. Is that cottage cheese normal for you? In the back of your thighs there? Is that okay? You're okay with that, or is that normal?
Just nitpicking
you
the
just
shit
eat poorly, or is that just don't exercise, or what do you do? Like being a dick? She's like, fuck you. My mom's got that. It's genetics. Eat dicks. My grandmother, fuck off, dude.
This to a bad fever?
Good Lord.
Or is that just shit diet?
Doctor's just a total asshole. Pointing at her.
You got a real dumpy ass. Is that normal?
Don't you paint your nails there? You must be out of your mind. That's fucking ridiculous.
I can't tell if maybe I have heard that when the fever spikes, the teeth go crooked.
That's
Is this
weird,
normal?
right? I just got to ask you one thing. Is that natural or a bad nose job? Which one? Or is that because there's something wrong with your nose? I'm
This
not sure
might
what
be
it is.
fun for a doctor.
It could be fun, yeah.
He's just like cathartic and
And
relieving.
she's sitting there going, I don't know, maybe that is it. They're just looking for a... You'd love to do it with like some asshole dick dude sitting there like, gee, I don't know, dude. Was your dick always that small? Was it bigger to begin with? Because there's certain diseases that'll shrink it, and that could be it.
Very bizarre, the difference in size between the dick and the balls. That is...
Your balls are pretty big, but your dick is very tiny. It's odd. I want to really get into this. Is this... Have you always had a tiny dick, sir? Because this is an important thing.
The large clitoris always been
Is
there?
that there? Because that's really what it is. That's all it is. You don't have much more than that.
Unreal.
Get some real macho dude in there.
Destroying his
eviscerate
ego.
him. No, I mean medically I'm talking. This is medically. I'm not talking like just in a
I'm not trying to-
anecdotal way.
I'm not
saying
trying to hurt your
you have a
feelings.
medically tiny penis is what I'm getting at. It's
Where's your wife? Ma'am!
is there I'm going to call the New England Journal of Medicine because we should really document your penis. It's very sir, it's absolutely.
On the off chance you die tonight, we will be medically checking your body.
I'll at least be photographing it to send.
We may be donating it to Bodies, the art exhibit.
There's a book of oddities that's coming out that I'd really think would be interested in this sort of thing. The tininess of your dick. So, yeah, that once her hair starts falling out, the doctor goes, okay, this is different now. This isn't just flu-like things. The hair falling out, I want to check for a full array of chemicals and poisons as well to make sure there's not something with the water, because they all get their water from a well out here too. So like if a well gets poisoned, it could have
We've got a household of people that are all going down. What if the whole town starts?
The whole town. Well, it's just the two houses share the well.
Got it.
Two houses share. They each have the well. I think they each have a well, and sometimes they have to tap off each other's wells, and it's all an arrangement they have there. So they're wondering if it's a well problem, because sometimes wells can have elevated levels of certain minerals and metals and things like that. So it can happen. It can get out of whack, obviously. So that's when she goes to the Winter Haven. She's at Winter Haven, and a neurologist there does a battery of tests and discovers a chemical in her system. Not even really a chemical. It's thallium is what it's called. Thallium. Thallium. It's a poison once used to kill rodents.
Rat poison.
But it's so nasty that it's not even the FDA outlawed it. It's not even used for that anymore.
Wow.
That's how nasty it is. They also tested the boys, and they also had thallium in their system. Enough thallium to keep them in the hospital for months. We're talking months. I mean, it was 4 months for the one boy, 6 months for the other boy.
Shit.
Recovering in the hospital. Okay, and Peggy continues to get sicker and sicker. Doctors also found traces of the poison in pie, also in Tammy, Peggy's daughter Jelena, and the 2-year-old Casey.
Casey? Oh, no.
All had traces, but not, they called them insignificant traces. They weren't enough to make them sick, but more than they should have in their system.
Where's the fucking source?
More than natural, basically, here. It's at this point that, they do this. They test everything. It's at this point that Peggy, after a few months, ends up slipping into a coma from this whole thing. Now, thallium, just a little background on this thallium shit here. It's commercially, it was produced, it says here it's produced not from potassium ores, but as a byproduct from refining heavy metal sulfide ores, is what it is.
Some
now,
miners found it.
It's approximately 60 to 70% of thallium production is used in the electronics industry. That's what it is. It's for industrial purposes, and the remainder is used in the pharmaceutical industry and in glass manufacturing. It's also used in infrared detectors, so it's like a metal type of thing. Even it's used. What is this? Oh yes, the radioisotope thallium is used in small non-toxic amounts as an agent in a nuclear medicine scan during one type of nuclear cardiac stress test. Like they use, radiation for an X-ray. They use this as a little drop of this to, so you could see.
Got it.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's the sodium soluble thallium salts are toxic and nearly tasteless as well. And they're historically used in rat poisons and insecticides. So, insecticides, yes. They sprinkle them over and then you fuck your mother. That's how it works.
That was the best slip that's ever happened.
You snort it, and then you fuck your cousin. Well, in Florida, you don't even need drugs to do that. You
it's
just fuck your cousin.
You actually just kind of sprinkle it over the dinner plate of somebody who has fucked their cousin.
Pow.
And it fixes it.
And then, that's how it works. Everything's fine now. And they forget about fucking their cousin. Jesus Christ. That'd be good that's what we use to kill molesters. Yeah. Incesticide. There you go. So, it's now, this compound's been restricted or banned in a lot of countries because it's very toxic.
Yeah.
And, the poisoning results in hair loss and, shit like that. They said a lot of times that symptom doesn't, surface sometimes. And, it's very popular historically as a murder weapon.
Yeah.
Thallium.
Tasteless.
Because it's also tasteless. Right. It's hard to detect unless you're looking for it as well. It is known as, quote, the poisoner's poison and, quote, inheritance powder. They call that. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Inheritance powder. Holy shit. That's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This sounds like much more powerful than the shit in The Princess Bride.
Yeah, well, that's arsenic. They use arsenic. They say that this and arsenic are the inheritance powders.
Really?
They're the thing. But arsenic is like one of the poisons they would look for first.
Yeah.
Whereas this thallium.
Well, also, too, because it breaks down really fast in your system.
That's the other thing. Exactly. This thallium, though, apparently, unless the hair loss symptoms comes out, it just looks like you got sick and died.
Yeah.
Looks like you got the flu and died.
Holy
literally,
shit.
if that doctor doesn't notice some hair loss, they don't even test for this shit. You have to do a specific test for it.
Should
they don't
we even
just
be talking about this?
That's what I mean. Well, it's out there a lot, as
Is
we'll get
it?
into. Yeah,
I've
in pop
never heard of
culture,
this shit.
it's out there a lot. Agatha Christie had it in books.
Really?
It's a very popular thing. Yeah,
I read almost all her
it's known
books.
as the inheritance powder.
Yeah.
You've read none of her books.
I swear
No,
I
I'm
have.
just kidding.
My mom fucking loved that
Really?
woman. Loved her.
Did you read The Pale Horse?
Probably.
Okay, The Pale Horse is about thallium.
Okay. How old is it?
It's 1961 or something.
Then I probably have.
Yeah, it's.
Didn't she? I don't know. I was going to say, didn't she keep having new books come out?
She wrote 5 million books.
When did she die?
I don't know.
She's probably still alive, huh?
She's probably out there
kicking around.
4'1" troll of a woman now. She's only because she's 150, I think. So that's why she's.
Was 10 Little Indians hers? I think it was.
I don't remember.
I think it was.
So yeah, she's so long. I mean, that's all these murder mysteries.
I've read a ton of her books because my mom had them sitting on the back of the toilet.
She pumped them out every day. Those goddamn things. So it's they say ingesting as little as 1 gram of thallium can kill an adult.
Yeah.
It was banned by the EPA, not the FDA, the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency in 1972, which is like right when they started it. So that's one of the first things they did was ban that shit. That's how bad it is.
First order of business, that shit.
That shit out of here. They say it's extremely painful. It causes peripheral nerve damage that can feel like numbness, pins and needles, or fire in the extremities. It can also induce severe vomiting, cramps, and diarrhea. Weakness and confusion are also symptoms. All sound like the flu, too.
They're everything.
It's all flu symptoms. If it's caught on early enough, the problem is it can stay in your system and really root itself before. So if you don't get it right away, it gets in your system and you can't get rid of it.
Stuck.
It's like stuck in there. It's bad. Yeah, it's like some kind of staph infection almost or something. It consists of taking the they have a certain thing here, but they have to try to remove it from the bloodstream in a certain way. There's a procedure they have, but
do like a transfusion.
And it's like if you find it early enough, you can do anything like that.
Shit.
So they found the thallium in Peggy's urine, and it showed that in her urine she had. Wow, you have a drop of natural amount of this in your body. She has 20,000 times the natural amount in her body.
Holy shit.
Sounds
that's more than a gram.
That's more than a gram. Yeah, 20,000 times the natural amount. Sounds like a fuckload more than you should have in your goddamn body. They tested, like I said, Dwayne and Travis. Their tests also positive, but they didn't have quite as much in their system as Peggy. Peggy was loaded with it.
Yeah.
She would have set off a metal detector probably. She was fucking loaded.
They got it all.
It's crazy, yeah. So, 2 months for Dwayne in the hospital, 6 months for Travis in the hospital, which is absolutely fucking nuts, man. Think about that.
Oh, think about the bill.
Oh my God, yeah, it's absolutely
poor kid. He's a teenager.
Both of them,
they're teenagers,
and it weakened them and it's fucked them all up.
Yeah.
It's absolutely
that
crazy.
That long in a bed with that kind of poisoning. Your body goes to nothing.
That's what I mean. Atrophy and everything else.
Oh,
you feel.
Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show and tell you about Noom. Has Noom helped you? I believe it has.
Oh, it's got an app. You can do tracking. It's terrific.
It does. Noom builds personal plans that can meet individual needs. That's the thing. Takes into account any dietary restrictions, medical issues, other personal needs. That helps build a plan that works for you. And yes, so I know that you've had your own personalized program here that you've been working on. And
it's weight loss This is weight loss results that last. They stick around because you get yourself into a lifestyle change. That's what matters.
That's mainly it. You can't just say, I'm going to cut that out for a month and then go back.
Do it.
That's not what it is. So I'm glad it's helping you. That's great. And it really does. I like the psychology and biology-based approach here. Noom Weight uses psychology. That's why they say losing weight starts with your brain, but it also takes into account your unique biological factors, Jimmy. All of your multitude flora and fauna that goes on inside of you there.
Sure, yeah.
Stay focused on what's important to you with Noom's psychology and biology-based approach. Sign up for your trial today at Noom.com, Noom.com here. Based on 3.5-year study of actively engaged Noom users with minimum starting BMI of 25. Individual results may vary. Visit our website for more information. Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you about a healthy, delicious item, Hero Bread. And we're both trying to get healthier this new year. Jimmy had a eye-opening doctor's appointment and things like that. So we're trying to get healthier, and I'm telling you right now, this Hero Bread is a good step in this direction. It's delicious, and it is really good for you, and it's really excellent. They have the sliced bread is good, the bagels, the tortillas. I know you've been
they're terrific.
Ranting about the tortillas. They're so good. With Hero Bread, you can focus on your health goals and still indulge in the soft, fluffy experience you love, but guilt-free. I really love the little Hawaiian rolls, too.
Yeah.
They're so good. They're so good. The Hawaiian rolls, they're legit. They're fluffy. Yeah. They're exactly how you want them to be. You'd never know it's low-carb and high-fiber bread from the texture. You get the soft, fluffy experience you know and love with your savory breakfast sandwich, late-night grilled cheese, Taco Tuesday. Do it. No compromises, just flavor, ultra-low net carbs, 0 grams of sugar, high in fiber. It's fantastic. Hero Bread is offering 10% off your order. Go to hero.co and use the code SmallTownMurder at checkout. That's SmallTownMurder at HERO.co.
And now back to the show.
Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show and tell you all sorts of good stuff about Chime. That's what I'm talking about. There's so many extra fees you have to pay in life. Everything. You go to the airline, there's an extra ticket on that. There's extra fee on every fees and fees, hotels, fees, all this type of stuff. We're trying to make progress, and the next thing you know, here comes another fee coming at you, and it's more money than you expected, and your whole math is thrown off, and it's awful. Learn more at chime.com/smalltownmurder. Chime is great with that stuff. I mean, you can't beat if your things are a little tight, especially around the holidays or after the holidays. Yeah. You need that money a couple days early, or you go grocery shopping. You got a car payment due. There's so many things that don't cross over exactly how you want them to cross over. Make progress toward a better financial future with Chime. Open your account in 2 minutes at chime.com/smalltownmurder. That's chime.com/smalltownmurder. Feels like progress. Banking services and debit cards provided by Bancorp Bank N.A. or Stride Bank N.A., members FDIC. Spot me eligibility requirements and overdraft limits apply. Boosts are available to eligible Chime members enrolled in Spot Me and are subject to monthly limits. Timing depends on submission of payment file. Fees apply at out-of-network ATMs.
And now back to the show.
Awful. So, their Peggy remains in the hospital, though, through all of this. Now, obviously, there's going to be a thorough investigation to find out where this comes from, because if it's a water thing or if it's a naturally occurring thing, they gotta figure it out.
Now.
Yeah, they said, do you guys have like a bunch of thallium that you use around the house for anything? And they're no.
Have you been growing crops with thallium? Is that your thing? Have you been fertilizing your fields with fucking thallium?
Yeah, where are you finding? You guys have been snorting
Where have
thallium.
you found it?
Jesus
It seems
Christ.
as though you found the mother lode of all the thallium.
20,000 times what you should have.
That's a lot.
So the Polk County Sheriff's Office, and they get other agencies involved in this too, because there's a lot of people interested in this. They're not going to let some shit-kicking mid-central Florida Sheriff's Department handle it on their own. Let's be honest here.
Hey, where's that sheriff that got the young black man?
Yeah, let's get him over here.
Let's get him over here. He'll get to the bottom.
Luckily, he's been dead for 70 years, I'm sure. But so also the Polk County Health Department, the Florida Department of Health and Rehabilitation Services, and even the EPA came over. Environmental Protection Agency came over. Everybody came over to search the car's home to look for this source of thallium.
White suits.
Yeah, they ruled out right away. They went to the water. They thought the well water was the that was the
culprit.
That had the biggest chance of it being the well water, and it was clean. Totally clean. What they do find, though, is they search everything, and they find 8 packs of 16-ounce glass Coca Cola bottles there.
The glass ones.
With we have to. You have to crank. You need a bottle opener.
Is it
for
those? It's an 18-ounce though.
16 ounce.
16.
The tall boys.
Are you sure it's not the little fat ones
It's
in
no,
the 80s? Remember those?
16 ounce tall boys that they sold 8 packs of.
Okay.
In Florida, who knows what they sold?
You never know.
You never know. Because I remember if you watch, it's the ones that were on like soda commercials in the 80s.
Yeah,
that they'd be drinking from that bottle, but they didn't.
Polar bear ones.
Yeah, the tall boys there. So it's those. 3 bottles were full and 4 were empty that they found out of these 7 that were there. So the laboratories tested and found thallium residue in the 4 empty bottles. Oh, no. Not only that, they tested the 3 full unopened bottles, sealed unopened bottles, and found thallium in it.
Who at
in
that
the Coke
factory is a motherfucker.
So now they're like, oh shit. They start freaking the fuck out because this is post the Tylenol thing.
Right.
When people were poisoning, there was a particular people poisoning Tylenol bottles, and it was a national fucking scare, man. Yeah. I mean, people freaked because everybody had Tylenol in their medicine cabinet. Literally, I think that's what made ibuprofen like number one, it's better, but I think that's what made it more popular. Because literally people tried it because they were scared of Tylenol. Right. Like that's literally, I think, what's made Advil. Maybe it was Advil doing it.
Goddamn Aleve.
God damn it. So, now they're like, oh shit, what the fuck do we do now? Oh no, they're freaked out here. So they test these bottles because they got to make sure that these bottles are still factory sealed.
Right.
So, and still have the same amount of carbonation that they would have from the factory. And they take it to a lab. They do all these tests. They do find out that these bottles have been opened and resealed.
So they've been tampered with.
They've been tampered with.
Post
this is not
the factory.
Post the factory.
It's not a Coca Cola problem.
This is not Coca Cola. At first, they literally thought, oh my God, we could have
a mass murderer in the fucking Coca Cola factory.
We could have 10 million people in the hospital tomorrow. Like this, they went literally. It was like a disaster movie when they see like the test results and they're like, "There's way more radiation than we thought." It's one of those where they were like, "Oh God," and they're holding a Coke and they're like, "Yeah, that's what it is." They were all everybody dropped what they were doing for a second, like. Our fucking, the whole state, the whole country, we have no idea where the fuck this came from. It could be, they freaked, man. So at this point, the whole thing became a criminal investigation and not an accidental. Because at first they were just thinking it was an environmental thing. She somehow came across something, but now it's not. They found that these bottles had been tampered with. They'd had their caps removed with a small tool and then placed back onto the bottles with
another tool.
With a press. There's a device that you do it with, a machine that does it.
Yep.
A device, and that pops it back on. But they didn't have the same carbonation. You know, when you crack a bottle of Coke, that steam
moves,
comes out. Yeah. That fucking
the liquid moves inside.
Yeah, and you get not steam, but you get the
the smoke.
The smoke
the
shit
Coke
comes
smoke.
out. Yeah, the Coke smoke comes out of the top. The Coke smoke was gone, so that's a problem.
Yeah,
that's a factory Coke smoke there.
It had a green one that came out this time.
Yeah,
like in a Disney movie.
Ooh, Jesus,
don't drink this one.
Oh, that's a bad one. Like a genie farted.
It's got green Coke smoke.
Oh, Jesus. The Coke smoke's green, everybody. Everybody hide. The Coke smoke's green.
Everybody out.
Oh, Jesus. So now it's a criminal investigation, obviously. Who could have done this? they ask all the kids and everybody in the family, okay, where did you buy the Cokes from?
Yeah.
Maybe this is a random thing where somebody put some shit on a shelf, like a Tylenol situation.
Yeah.
So they're worried about that. Is this going to be going on all over the place? They don't know if this is targeted toward her, or did they just buy some tainted Coke by accident?
You just happen to get any letters random in the fucking mail? You know what I mean?
Anybody threatening murder on you? Did they clarify whether it was a joke or not? That's what we need to know, because it's obviously a lot of joking going on.
You got any joke letters?
You got anybody kidding around? Anybody joshing lately? No? So
I want to know where that came from. There had to have been a kid named Josh that was
just a little
hysterical.
Shithead. Either that or, real funny. Either that or just a little asshole.
Yeah.
Like, he's always pulling shit, this fucking Josh. You're not joshing, are you? Don't be a fucking Josh. Do not be a Josh. I'll knock your teeth down your throat.
You Josh me, we're going to fight.
You're going to be grounded forever if you don't cut this Josh bullshit out. He's joshing again. I smacked him around. Don't worry.
I'd like to know who he was.
God, he must have been a prick. So they ask everyone, where'd you buy the Cokes? Who bought the Cokes? And they all looked around and they all said, no one in the family bought the Coke. Basically, everyone thought whoever went shopping might have bought it. So they said, no one could remember buying these Cokes.
Oh, this is crazy.
In the end, no one remembered buying them. They said, we didn't buy them.
I thought you bought the Coke.
Yeah, I
didn't buy the Coke.
We figured that Dad bought them or Mom bought them.
Casey
She didn't buy them. You didn't buy them. Did she buy them? Did he buy them?
Baby went and got us Coke. What
Nobody
a sweetheart.
bought. So after at the end, they go, I didn't buy. And they go, okay, well, none of you people bought this Coke. And they go, we just figured somebody bought Coke. If there's 7 people in the house, if there's 2 people and you have Coke now, you go, did you buy some Coke? And they go, and there's Coke.
Right.
If there's 7 people, you just assume someone picked up some Coke.
That's true.
That's it.
Yeah.
Who cares? They're living in the fucking garage. They could have picked it up and you wouldn't go ask, did you buy the Coke? They don't care.
No.
Grab me one.
You just high five each other and go, we've got Coke.
Yay. So the bottles too, the glass ones. Yeah, they're
good
stay
ones.
Cold. They're good. So
watch the Coke smoke.
Yeah, they just said, it's a small town. It's very safe. And they don't even lock their doors, the cars. Yeah. They said, we don't even lock our doors. Anybody could have put it in our house, in our kitchen, in our living room, in our fridge, in our carport. We don't lock our doors. Like, it's a safe place. We never even thought of it. We just figured it's Coke. So, wow. They're like, this is weird. So then they ask Pi, and they're like, anybody that would want to do this to you? Any reason? And he said, well, I did get this letter. They're like, we'd sure like to take a look at that, for Christ's sake.
The fuck didn't you say something, Pi?
Fuck me, dude. What do you got here? And they look at it, and he said, I thought it was a prank. And they were like, I could see that, but now you're fucking, your
Once
wife's
she's sick and nobody knows where the Coke came from.
Well, your wife's in a coma, and there's mystery Coke floating around. So let's get into this here. So Peggy, the problem is once the boys got sick, they knew it was thallium from Peggy, so they were able to test them for thallium, get them on a treatment plan right away. Peggy was sick for a month before she ever started any treatment. So it got in her system so long that it was just worse and worse and worse. She lost the ability to speak. She had to use sign language to communicate.
No.
Eventually went into a coma here. And then at March 3rd, 1989, she had to be taken off life support and she died.
Oh, Jesus.
So this is crazy.
Yeah.
She drank some Coke and died.
That just showed up on her porch and she didn't even know. She
Didn't
thought
realize
the kids got it.
Yeah, she had no idea. No one knew. They just figured he picked up. Oh, your stomach hurts. You want a Coke? There's Coke in the fridge. Yeah, sure. Here you go. That's it.
This is the most
like anybody would do.
Thankful I've ever been to live alone, because if there's something in my fridge I didn't buy, I did go, throw that shit out.
Start looking around.
That's not mine.
You got a bigger problem than shit in your fridge at that point. Who's in your closet? Who's under your bed? Someone's in my house. Good Lord. This isn't Alturas where you leave your doors open.
Clearly not eating or drinking whatever the fuck that is, and I'm getting the fuck out.
This is Phoenix. If someone's in your house, it's for bad purposes. They're there for not nice things. They're there to rob you and or kill you.
They're not even hiding.
No. I can picture him looking out from like behind the couch waiting for you to drink it. Is he going to drink it? There he goes. I put my jizz in there.
I do hope that from now on, when you grab a drink out of the fridge, you look at Sarah and go, did you buy this?
Oh, yeah, I will. From now on. I want to know where
Never stop.
every drink in my home came from. Where'd you buy this? I'm going to quiz her.
Did you buy it? Where'd you get it? How much was it?
Did you buy that? Yeah. Where?
Checks out.
Is it on sale?
Got a receipt?
Let's see your receipt. Let's go. I want to see your loyalty rewards card statement. I want to make sure that this counted.
How many
on there.
fuel points do we have?
Let's go. Crack it up. So yeah, it's crazy here. So she's dead. They have no fucking earthly clue who could have done this. They don't know if this is a random. They got them off the shelves and somebody might have forgot they bought the Coke maybe, or did they really not buy it and someone came in and planted it there? And if so, who the fuck kills people like this? A, who has the reason to? B, I mean, at first they're thinking maybe it was Pie killing it off his wife that he just married and now all the kids are here. Maybe it got too much for him and he killed her, but they didn't think so. It just didn't. It didn't add up.
Not one of these scenarios is more comfortable. No, all of these are horrifying.
They're all terrible. He was a happy newlywed at that point. The only thing, I guess, it's less horrifying that if it's someone that hates you specifically than if it was just some random person putting shit on the shelves that anybody could have got.
That's terrible.
Well, to me, that's easier because it's like, okay, well, who hates me? If a lot of people don't hate me, then I'm probably not going to have that. Whereas if I buy it on the shelf, anybody could have done it, sort of thing.
That's the most scary to me, just because so many children drink Coke, whether it just be a little bit or they have a fucking habit.
Sip off their parents, or they
so many children.
A lot of
that's
people.
Fucked up.
It's great. A lot of just everybody, people. So and this was also in the 80s too, before soda was demonized as a
I
I
got one more question, Pi. How many of your family pets are dead in the last year?
That's the other thing.
Because we've got some really horrible things happening.
And that's the other thing. At that
How much Coke do those drink?
They drinking the Coke too? Yeah. Well, at that point, that's what they said too. He said, my dogs got sick and died too in the month. They go, well, that's interesting. Yeah. They didn't drink Coke, did they? No. They're like, okay.
Yeah.
So they're really... they're starting to really try to put this is a puzzle, this is a lot to put together. They look at a lot of different people. They they literally ask Pie, did someone cut you off in traffic even? Like who could possibly have any beef with you? Yeah. And they're like, we live in the middle of nowhere. We don't have any problems with anybody. The only people we even know are our next door neighbors.
Yeah.
So they're like, because they just moved in, and that year, the wife just moved in. The
doctor,
Peggy.
No,
Peggy just moved in that year with all their kids.
Right.
So the only people out here are our neighbors. We don't really know anybody else, or we have friends, but they're not going to kill me.
Sure.
So they said, okay, well, we got to talk to them. Maybe they know something because they live there. Maybe they saw somebody going in or whatever. So they talked to George Trapal, the next door neighbor here. And they find out through a bunch of people, witnesses, different people around town, that Trapal has had a lot of problems with Pie specifically, and then with later on Peggy as well. Everybody. Okay. Basically, tons of arguments, tons of all sorts of shit. There's a guy named Alan Adams who did lawn care for Trapal in 82 and 83. And at that point, he saw George Trapal interact with the children who lived on Pie's property at the time. And he said, quote, Trapal always got highly upset and usually yelled obscenities at them, at the children. Trapal, quote, made threats toward the car children, and on several different occasions. One time Trapal said, quote, I will get them. Another time Trapal got highly upset when they rode some motorcycles through his yard and yelled, I'm going to kill you. This is 1983.
Yeah.
I mean, this is 5 years earlier.
Right.
So, but these are all... There's some beef there they have nothing else to go on here. Now, Margaret Smith, who is Pie's first wife and mother of his kids, Tammy and Travis, she obviously lived with Pie next door for several years. And she said that Trapal hated the car's dogs. Hated Pie's dogs the most. Several times, Margaret Smith saw Trapal, quote, throwing sticks or stomping his foot at them to try to get them out of his yard. Which the stomping the foot, hey, get out of here, get lost. I could see that. Get out of my yard, but not, stop shitting on my yard.
Shit at dogs?
Throw shit at some dog. That's just weird. That's being an asshole at that point. So a guy named Jeff Schaefer, he bought the Carrs home after Peggy's death. The rest of the Carrs moved out and became Tripal's new neighbor here. We'll talk about him too. Now Schaefer, when he moves in, he talks to Tripal, and Tripal's like, "Hey, you bought this house. Right. These people lived here before you." Right. And Tripal tells Schaefer that Pi had a drinking problem and that Pi used to irritate Tripal by coming over to the house, to George's house here while drunk and banging on his door. So he said Pi would be all shit-faced and come bang on my door for no reason. Yeah. That was like a complaint of his.
So don't you do that to me.
Don't be doing that. He's basically making them out like they're the Bumpuses in the Christmas Story. Right. You know what I mean? Like they're just this fucking trash brood with dogs.
Ragtag group.
Dogs ripping turkeys off the counter and, no front porch. People fall out, just the whole mess. So, but it's not really that. They're just getting by, these people. So also George Tripal told Schaefer that there was a, quote, big social difference between the Tripal and Carr families because the Tripals were reserved and childless and kept to themselves, and they said that the Carrs were, quote, kind of redneckish and the children weren't disciplined the way they should be. That's how Tripal put it to Schaefer. The kids are kind of redneckish. They're all kind of redneckish, but the kids aren't disciplined. They're cut-ups. Yeah, that's what's going on here. I mean, let's call a spade a spade.
You're in Florida, George.
Yeah, you're in rural Florida.
What do you expect?
That's what's going to happen here. I guess the Carr kids really bothered Tripal by playing the radio too loudly and being what he called disrespectful.
Okay.
Which is, with this guy, who knows? He sounds like a real fun guy, this Tripal, doesn't he? George is not a fun guy.
No.
Doesn't sound fun.
He moved out to the rural area to get quiet.
Yeah, and then he
moved in next to this.
He gets the Beverly Hillbillies next to him, and he's not happy about it.
What the fuck?
Jesus Christ. Now, Pi estimated that he had disagreements with Tripal about 10 to 12 times over the years. He's had big blow-ups with him.
How long has he lived there?
10 years.
That's one a year. That's a lot.
That's a lot of blow-ups.
Yeah.
I've had zero with my neighbors, mainly because I barely look at them.
Right.
I just wait. Hey, how you doing?
I talk to mine from time to time, and zero
interaction or arguments.
None.
Yeah. One day, the Carrs there, Pi was working on Travis, his son's truck in the back of the workshop. And basically and there was another person there, and they were all listening to what Pi called a, quote, party tape that had like, I don't know, it was a party tape.
Yeah.
In the 80s, you just buy tapes that were like, it's
party mix.
It's, it's Ronald Reagan rapping on your answering machine or whatever. It would just be like stupid, because tapes were like a big thing.
Right.
This was a tape. It was a party tape, and it had like dirty jokes on it, basically. It was like a bunch of dirty jokes.
Or was there just like, sketches in between songs?
No. It wasn't music. It was like, somebody put together some compilation of like shitty fucking dad jokes and stuff like that.
The nightmare.
This sounds awful.
I'm on your side, George.
Yeah, at this point,
I hate it too.
Hey, that shit's hacky. Turn it off. Turn it off, you hacky fucks.
You haven't heard that joke, you fucking jerks.
Chef Foxworthy's going to get real big soon, and you guys are going to be thrilled. But until then, cut it out.
You guys are going to get DVDs of this
You're going to
shit.
be so happy with Larry the Cable Guy. It's not even funny. So the tape was played loudly, I guess, and Tripal came over to talk to Pi about it 3 times. Okay. He kept coming back, and Pi did not turn the tape down. He wouldn't turn his fucking shit down. I'm going to hear my dirty jokes on full volume, damn it.
Pi loves it.
I ain't taking shit from you, nerd boy.
Come on, you can't handle a dick joke?
Come on now. I got a better one for you. So 2 Jews walk into a
whorehouse.
2 Jews walk into a Klan meeting. Stop me if you heard it. Fucking ridiculous. So
they brought latkes.
2 Jews with knishes walk into a Klan meeting.
Stop me if you heard
this one. And the boys at that meeting go, "What you got them potato pillows for?"
All right, I've heard it. Yes, I've heard this.
Damn it,
it's going to get real racist around here.
All the jokes I got are racist. I figure that's the party mix with a bunch of racist jokes. like shit about like tit jokes and like stuff like that. Jokes that are like borderline rapey.
Right.
You know what I mean? Where
And
you're like,
super angry about women.
yeah.
You wanted a facelift, why don't you just take your bra?
Yeah.
stretch your face skin out.
Hard to say no when you're slurring your speech. Pour her another drink, buddy. Hey, it's like one of those,
Yeah.
Hey, isn't that funny? Like, no, not really.
Not at all, sir.
No, that's not funny. So, Jesus Christ.
That's your wife, man.
Fuck. In March 1988, the Cars, that's when they converted their garage into the apartment for the girls. Trapal called the zoning board to complain.
Oh, for God's
They're like,
sake,
you
dude.
live in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
We don't care what you do out there. Are you kidding me? You think we care that someone is putting some drywall up in their garage in the middle of the citrus grove? The fuck do we care?
Your next neighbor's a quarter mile away, and they're occupying an easy up. Who
Ask
gives
them
a
if
shit?
they care. Yeah. Get back to us. Jesus Christ. Trapal claimed that it violated the zoning ordinance. County code inspector issued the Cars a notice of violation for building without a permit.
Okay.
And then later Pi got a permit and did it.
And then finish it. And
he did it legal.
Right.
We thought it was legal.
right. And then he did it all while listening to a very loud party
and then he
mix.
put it on even louder.
Yeah.
How's that?
That and hammers. Take that.
This joke's about Mexicans. You're going to love it.
While he's zipping drywall.
Yeah, fuck. So in September of '88, this is pre the sickness, pre Peggy's sickness. I don't know, I can't remember Peggy for some reason. I want to call her Diana because they're both named Carr. So
Right.
it's driving me fucking crazy.
Right.
Even though it's Dr. Diana, it's DD.
Right.
I have to play tricks in my head to remember a full cast of characters every week. So every week we have a new full
Right. It's a
cast
whole
of a
new
dozen
cast.
hillbillies
You
that I
gotta
need to
get
fucking.
used, right.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So
You got to get to know them.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
and then fucking delete it?
and then
What?
tell it to you guys and then forget it ever happened and start over again. So this day here in September, this is one of the children's one of their daughter's husband, Ronald Chester, was there. Ronnie Chester.
Boy,
Ronnie Chester, nice to meet you, bud. That's like Joe Dirt's real name,
Right.
So he was working on his truck, and of course, because it's
Yep.
Florida, and he had the radio on, of course.
Yep.
And Trapal asked Chester to turn the radio down because Trapal was trying to read a book. He said that this is Ronald Chester said that Trapal was shaking and quote acted like he was upset. He said Chester turned the radio down, and like 2 minutes later, Trapal came out again and told him to turn the radio down, even though the radio was down and wasn't loud anymore. So
George is a pain in the ass.
George is very particular in the way he wants
Yeah.
things, and if he's very upset that these rednecks are not.
Right. My water pump is
Not
not going to
dropping into
fix
their life.
itself without I can't drive 55 turned up
it's-
to 10.
I gotta crank it. You
Right.
see, I like.
That's how you get these lug nuts loose.
If I don't put the speed wagon on, it's real hard for me to get in the groove. You know what I'm saying? That makes me want to
Right.
get into it if I put the speed wagon on the
And
thing.
it gets it done faster. You understand
You
that
put-
speed is in the
That's
band.
it. You know, you put that fog hat on and you just get in the groove, you know?
Low and slow, baby.
Oh, you know how it goes right there, buddy. Poison's new album is spectacular. Let me tell you something.
Really rocking him.
So they're now the water to these houses are supplied by wells. They each have a well. On different occasions, each home have to share they have like a share set up too, where if one of them is they need to
drops low.
Yeah, they need to go to the other one. They go to the other one. So in October of '88 was one of the times that one of the wells was supplying water to both of the houses. Trapal came over to the Cars to complain about their radio playing outside, and Pi told Trapal they'd turn the radio off soon.
Yeah.
Relax, George. I'll turn it off soon. So after Trapal left, they turned the radio down. Later on, one of the kids turned the radio on while washing his car. George came out and complained again. He's just got a real radio problem. Pi told Trapal here that Travis was just listening to the radio and washing his car and to relax. And after Pi went into the house, Trapal disconnected the water hose from the house. So he couldn't fucking do it. So it's just getting petty now. It's silly and petty.
Yeah.
Now, a few days before Peggy became ill, George's wife, Dr. Diana, had a little talk with Peggy about some loud music. She had a little interaction here. The Carr children were outside playing music, and they said that George said it was, at the time, was telling his wife it was really loud, even inside their house it was loud. So Diana asked Peggy to have the children turn the music down. Peggy told Diana that they didn't have to. She said, I don't have to. Oh, so she said, okay. So at this point, Diana said that Diana and George were both home at that time also as well. So then she gets sick later on, but 2 days before 2 days before Peggy gets sick, Diana comes back again in a rage. The family says that Diana was, quote, screaming and cussing and yelling and ranting and raving about music again. They said that her level of anger, the way they put it, her level of anger was way out of proportion to the situation.
Yeah, it didn't match.
Just like, hey man, we're trying to do you might turn the radio down. She was like, yo, fucking bastards, on the radio. It was like, just like, whoa, she came out at a 12.
Where did all this come from?
Like, you could just say, can you please turn the radio down because I'm doing something? And normally people will be like, oh, cool.
Right.
But
it sounds like she's been listening to George for the past few months, and she can't take it.
They're just in there stewing.
She can't take another word out of him.
I feel like they're both egging each other on, and then they just burst out of the door.
Right. Everybody's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, they've been getting each other jacked up about it for an hour, and they're like, dude, we just showed up here, man. So apparently when Peggy again said, she wasn't going to do what Diana wanted, Diana stormed off and shouted, quote, you won't get away with this. This isn't over. So that's what they were looking at. So with all of this, they're like, okay, who are these people? Who are these neighbors? We need to find out a little more about them.
The authorities get to that point with all these stories, but why didn't Pye, when they go, do you have anybody that hates you? Why didn't he go, oh, that dude next door
hates my fucking guts.
Hates me.
Because it was like, it's the doctor and her book reading husband. Yeah. It's not a thing that you think it was a.
He's not threatened by George.
No,
George doesn't scare him at all.
They're like, I don't know, these fucking nerds next door. They're not thinking of them like that as a threat at all.
The guy reads books, James.
Yeah, he can read. He wrote a note,
right?
Which means he wrote,
right?
And rest my case,
not
right
scared.
There. Not scared. Sorry.
Right.
Anybody I'm scared of isn't lettered.
Right. Read the back of my truck. It says ain't scary.
Or I think that's what it says. Because you know why? I ain't a pussy. I ain't no reading pussy going around writing things, reading letters and stuff, just writing everything.
The guy down at Pep Boys told me that's what it says.
Yeah, so I feel like he's not. So they look into him a little bit. They find out that they're very smart. They're both members of Mensa.
Yeah.
If you don't know what Mensa is, it's a high IQ
brilliant
society.
People.
It's basically top 2% IQ. It's 130 and over or whatever. So Diana had majored in chemistry in college. Well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
And she's an orthopedic surgeon.
Oh,
Dr. Diana Carr. Orthopedic. It's just different things.
Okay.
Yeah. You're thinking podiatrist, and orthopedic can be any kind of different bones and things and stuff.
Got it.
So, she worked long hours because she's an orthopedic surgeon, sort of important. George, is a freelance computer programmer is what he says, and he kind of works from home. Doesn't have any, office that he has to go to, or job outside the home. Now, they look into it, and they look in, obviously, Dr. Diana's chemistry background.
Yeah.
But they really are looking at George the most. They really, Diana's not there very much because she's at work so much.
And he's the real angry one.
And he's the one who's there dealing with him being pissed off all the time. She comes in and she's mad for an hour, but then she's not there that much, so it doesn't matter. So they look at that. They have an FBI profile of a poisoner here. Mm-hmm. And their profile of this poisoner is a white male, extremely intelligent, passive personality, avoids direct conflicts, which sounds exactly like George, too. They're like, he fits the profile perfectly. Women don't tend to poison outwardly.
Right.
They poison in their own home. Yeah, they're in-house poisoners.
The husband, the dogs.
Men need to men shoot their jizz everywhere.
Right.
Women keep it all inside their business. It's
inside their womb. Everything that goes in there or came out of there.
Men,
that's who get it.
Spread their seed.
Right.
Their poison seed everywhere. So that's how it works. So they question George. They want a little sit down with him, obviously. They want to talk to him. They said that he seemed nervous.
Yeah.
He was avoiding eye contact and stuttering and, nervousness. They asked him why They said, let me ask you, why would you think somebody might want to poison the cars? Do you have any idea? Because normal answer would be, I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
I don't know. They do something to somebody, I have a piece of shit out of me. That'd be my thing.
Right.
If you ask me like a stranger, why would, I don't know, maybe they did something to him. He says instead, quote, someone must have wanted them to move out of the neighborhood.
What the fuck?
Pardon? The strangest answer we've...
The neighborhood is 2 houses,
Yeah,
sir.
what are you talking about?
The only other person is you.
That's the thing, and they said they questioned more than 50 people that were friends and neighbors, from nearby and everything about that. They asked them all the exact same question. Why do you think anybody might want to hurt them? He's the only person that said that.
Only person
that had, maybe someone wanted to move. No one else said that. So that made him stand out right away. They all had similar answers that normal people have.
Right.
Not
he
him.
had the answer that he would have.
He was being very honest.
Right.
They said that's interesting because that was obviously the exact sentiment that letter was also sent to them. So they were like, okay. He also claims that he usually would go to Diana to work. He'd go to work with Diana at the hospital or at the office or whatever. So he wasn't at home very much. So he wouldn't have had any access to the car's house. Even though he doesn't have to be anywhere and he works from home pretty much. They said that now the Carr family said that George rarely leaves his house. He rarely goes with Diana. He's always home, basically. So they look into George a little bit deeper. George is born in 1949 in New York City. He's the son of a cop and a New York City police officer and an elementary school teacher. So 1949, those were like the two most upstanding, a school teacher and a policeman. Those are like the two.
Those people make an astronaut.
That's what I mean. Those two together, a fucking astronaut pops out or something.
John Glenn's parents were probably a cop and a teacher.
When he came out of his mother's womb, a flag fell out after him. They were like, here comes the sun. Oh, and here's the flag. Okay, good. That was.
They probably could have solved this investigation really fast if by 2 cops sitting on either end of the table and the suspect, any of the people, anybody that they interview, have 3 Cokes on the table and slide one to them and go, the car's had some left on their patio. Would you like one? And then just start drinking it.
Yeah,
see if they drink it. If they don't drink it, Yahtzee.
That's your guy. Yeah, that's it. Cuff him. You're down. So they look into that. They said that he said he was a smart kid early on, that he grew up in South Carolina and also in Charlotte. They said a pretty normal childhood. His father's name was George, his mother's name was Mabel, and that was about it. Once he moved out of his parents' house, he was in an apartment. He was in Charlotte, rented a place for $125 a month. That was around the early 70s. He graduated from high school in Florence, South Carolina. He was 106th out of 284 in his class there. In 1959, he had an IQ test that says that he has an IQ of 130. In the fall of 66, he goes to Clemson University. He ends up dropping out in 68, though, because his grades weren't high enough to maintain. But in 1969, he enrolls at the University of South Carolina and graduates in 72 with a Bachelor of Science degree with a major in psychology.
Hey.
So, smart guy, goes to school, does his shit. He also studies chemistry at South Carolina there. Now, he also, when he's in college, he digs psychedelics. He digs drugs.
Yeah.
And a lot of the kids in the chemistry department,
they
like psychedelics because they could put some stuff together.
They know what it does.
It's pretty fucking
they
good.
Can make a good one.
So, he also was kind of reckless with it, though. While he was at Clemson, specifically, he somehow was convinced that other students were coming into his dorm room when he wasn't there. So he didn't want anybody coming in and like partying or doing stuff. So to teach them a lesson, he coated his doorknob in liquid hallucinogens, basically liquid LSD. He coated his doorknob in, so when they come in, it's going to seep into their skin, and they're going to be all fucking whacked out.
Jizz on my pillow again.
Take that, motherfucker! Make my pillow smell like bleach and do that shit. So that's pretty fucked up, though. Anytime you dose anybody with something like a psychedelic
unknowingly, that's
that is
crazy.
Crazy time. They're going to end up in the hospital, especially for coming. They weren't stealing from them or anything. They're college kids,
and who knows if these kids have ever even done that shit before? You're going to get somebody that's not even into drugs at all, and you're going to fucking ruin them.
That's what I'm saying. So, and now also a few years later, he was on a cross country trip, and they had psychedelic laced brownies. They had different drugs laced in their brownies, and they would pick up hitchhikers and give them to the hitchhikers just to see what happened.
Oh, he's a dick.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. That's
crazy.
That's fucked up. Yeah, it's fucked up. He's being a dick. This is basically, he's like a picture of Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Right.
Fucking that. He's him and his friend going fucking tripping the hitchhiker out, except that he's also giving him drugs he doesn't even know about, which is nuts.
This is ridiculous.
It's fucking crazy. Yeah, insanity. So he says that he was self-employed as an exterminator in 1973. And he made approximately $45 a week back then. Yeah. He also says that he was involved in kinetic sculpture art, which uses junk parts to create sculpture figures, like Nick on Family Ties. Speaking of Family Ties, like That's Mallory's boyfriend. He says that he never sold any of his work, but he made it.
It's like welding metal together and
yeah, that's what he's doing. And
weirdo.
Look at that. I made a bunch of garbage, and now it's a sculpture.
There's a garbage man outside now.
Hey, garbage man. So he also, Jesus Christ, in South Carolina, turns out he was doing more than just being an exterminator and making garbage sculptures. Turns out he was also running one of the largest methamphetamine labs in the Southeast at the time.
Holy shit.
For 3 years, he was a giant methamphetamine maker, basically. He was Walter White in the 70s.
Wow.
And he had exactly what he was.
Yeah.
A guy with a degree and all that, and he just, not the guy you'd expect. If you saw him out, you wouldn't be like, oh, he probably makes meth.
Right.
But he makes meth.
Right.
He made
shorts and tall socks.
Tall socks, boy. Low shoes, tall socks. So he is arrested in 1975 in Charlotte, South Carolina for running this enormous methamphetamine lab. He ends up serving 3 years in federal prison for this in the late 70s. His particular method of cooking meth, because there's different ways of making meth. There's different formulas.
Sure.
And not all meth is created equal, Jimmy.
No, it's not.
I don't know if you know that. You're not a big meth user, but
I'm not, but I do know that.
He used a method known as the P2P method. And in this particular method, you need to use thallium.
Really?
In it. Yeah. So
put rat poison in it?
Oh, fuck yeah.
That one?
Meth is 90%,
it's all poison.
8% poison.
Battery acid.
That particular poison was one of them in this
That's a nutty
method.
poison.
Yeah, this particular, I don't know how much of it you use, but in the P2P method, thallium, at least in the 70s, I don't know about now, but that's what they used for it. So he's very familiar with thallium, has worked with it. You worked with it for years.
Yeah.
Successfully making meth. So in the 1970s, this is the type of guy he is, okay? In the 1970s, he at first had a good attitude in prison. And a parole progress report filed 10 months after his incarceration said this, quote, Trapal has maintained an above-average institutional adjustment and has responded well to programs. He's taught a chemistry course and has worked on a mural for the education department, is in the process of making videotapes for that department, has prepared a variety of posters and information for inmates that relate to the using of mathematics in the community. In addition to the above activities, he has completed a vocational training course that's led to securing of his FCC license. He can run a radio station. Also, he's active in the yoga program. He offers the following release plans: residence with his parents, employment, a pro film service is a guaranteed job that he has lined up in Columbia, South Carolina. He's been sentenced to 3 years, but officials at the federal prison recommend he get paroled. Yeah. But he ends up not being paroled right away. I don't know. They wanted to hold him longer. They said that the gravity of his offense weighed against him, apparently.
It's too much meth.
It's too much meth. You made too much meth, basically, is what it was. So, they also said that the people he was making it for were like huge drug dealers. So it wasn't like you were making a little operation. This was like
trafficking all
it was a Southeast cartel of meth.
And supplying everything
he was the guy making
from North Carolina down.
That's what I mean. Like all the meth that's out there, most of it his fault. Right. So, someone else would have made it, obviously. But after his parole is denied, he totally changes. He turns into a total asshole.
He's a dick now.
He's pissed. Now he's pissed because he tried to be a good guy. Hey, I'm fine. Everything's great. They denied his parole. He was like, how dare you?
No more Mr. Nice Guy.
Done. He would write memos to the jail people about the other people in prison.
What?
He would complain about his neighbors in prison.
They're prisoners, dude.
This is in the Virginia Living Unit of the Butner, North Carolina Federal Prison.
My felons aren't nice enough.
Well, no, this is a typewritten complaint. Now, normally I wouldn't do this, but this is so his personality that we need to put this in, okay? Wow, this is fucking crazy. He says, quote, a memo written by some guy who's the executive assistant on May 26th, 1976, concerning loud radios remains on some bulletin boards, but is not enforced by custody or team members. He's pissed about loud music. Yeah. The memo states, quote, radios may be played in individual rooms at a reasonable sound level. Then parentheses, reasonable level will be determined by a staff member. It is expected that each individual choosing to play a radio will exercise good judgment and will consider others when selecting appropriate sound level. They're in prison. Yeah. Who's appropriate and polite and fucking judgment? What are we talking about here?
That's usually determined based upon who's got the stronger fist.
It's prison.
It stays this loud or it goes lower based on who hits who harder.
In prison, there's not a lot of, hey, dude, be cool.
Right.
That doesn't, yeah, like, hey, chill.
No.
Hey, fuck you. How's that? A lot of fuck yous, but not a lot of, hey, be cool. Yeah, quote, the former unit manager, Mr. Shepley, wrote several memos during the past 6 months on the noise situation, stating offenders with loud radios, a radio that is played so can be heard in another person's room or hallway, would lose their radio for an unspecified period. The present unit manager, Mr. Barncastle, wrote a memo stating radios are not to be played so they can be heard outside the rooms. To date, no change has taken place, no radios have been taken away, and no disciplinary action has been taken. A number of months ago, I talked to several inmates about their radios and discovered that talking to noisy radio offenders in a civil manner does no good.
No.
Shocking. In federal prison, when you go, excuse me, sir, would you mind if they go, hey, go fuck your mother? They're in prison.
Shut the fuck up, meth boy.
I discovered that talking to noisy radio offenders in a civil manner does no good. It's like I'm in prison or something with these people. As far as I'm concerned, the necessary paperwork concerning the excessive noise has been prepared, but the correctional officers and team members have no intention of seeing that the rules and regulations in the memos are enforced. Jesus Christ. And then he writes the rights and responsibilities. It does all this thing. So if no one looks at your policy statement, it can be seen that no effort is being put forth with the noise offenders to teach them responsibility or consideration for others. Wow. This is one of the main reasons for inmates being locked up, lack of handling responsibility and consideration for others. You made meth for 3 years. He's acting like he's just visiting. He then says, in summary, I want something done, ! I don't want another memo. I want action. Who are you complaining to? Right. You're in jail. As I write this, 3 radios are going on 3 different stations. I don't know whether the custody people are lazy or just simply terrified of inmates. I do know that they don't earn their pay. Come on, fellows. I'm playing by your rules. I teach 3 classes a day in education. I have no discipline reports, have a unanimous team recommendation for parole, and have been put in Section 9 monetary award. I need a lot of quiet time for study and class preparation. When are you going to play by your own rules? All I've seen so far is mostly tight memos and a lot of promises. How about some action? Prison. Yeah. He's in. He's not writing a condo board saying that his neighbor's
It is very
loud.
well written, though. That's pretty impressive.
And they went, this fucking guy's hilarious. And they crumpled it up and threw it in the garbage.
This is very well written
If
garbage.
he wasn't in prison, someone would read this. Jesus Christ.
Did he say if he was kidding or not? Throw it away.
Throw it away. This is not a joke. Okay.
I think it's a joke.
I think it's a joke. It's just a joke. I'm not taking it seriously. So he's released from prison there, and they said he looked like he was on the straight and narrow. He keeps going to Mensa meetings, and that's where he meets Diana. Okay. Dr. Diana.
While he's in prison.
While he's at a Mensa meeting after he's released from prison. So, yeah, he gets out of prison, and he starts Mensa-ing.
Yeah.
And,
Me too.
Yeah, he meets another smart lady here, meets his wife, which is pretty good, I guess.
Right.
It's fucking not too shabby. You get to meet a woman. So in Diana, though, George meets somebody that he can get along with. He doesn't mind that she is very ambitious, because we're talking late 70s, early 80s. There was still a weird thing with some husbands didn't want their wives to be real ambitious and go, do things outside the home, which I don't understand. But he knew that she was going to be a doctor, and he was all for it.
Yeah.
It was great with it. Yeah, go be a great orthopedic surgeon.
Make a shitload of money.
Yeah, that's all great. So they loved, the two of them, their passion together. What they like to do is true crime and mysteries.
Really?
They're really into true crime here.
They would love podcasts.
Oh, they would love this shit. George would like this podcast if we weren't ripping him apart. George studied police manuals, and he thought that he was an expert in crime scene procedures. So he would study this type of shit and was all into it.
Except for he's never fucking done it.
Never done it, but he knows what you're supposed to do anyway. Okay. He knows the investigative procedures. So they bring him in for an interview here based on all his background. Let's talk to George. No one else even knows the fuck thallium is. He's literally made it dance before. So let's talk to him a little bit here. So a Detective Ernest Mincy brings him in here. He brings him in, this is December 22nd, 1988. This is when they talk to him. He looks nervous, like we were talked about. He says he's self-employed. He's a technical writer, a computer programmer, and says he knows nothing about thallium. Mm-hmm. That's what he tells them. I don't know what that is. Never heard of it before. So then they asked him about, why would someone want to poison him, and he said maybe they want him to leave. That sort of shit.
Bad answers all the way around. So they ask him all that shit. Then after that's when they learn about his degree in chemistry and all this type of shit. And he ran a meth lab that he used the P2P meth, blah blah blah. So they started going. He knows about thallium. He lied to that. It's a lot of circumstantial.
Yeah, it's a lot of circumstantial. They have conversations with him. They said that you could just tell his animosity toward them. They said that it showed that his hostility toward the cars, even after Peggy was dead and the cars moved away, he was still angry at them, which they thought was odd. He told an agent Gorick, who's a woman here, tells agent, well, it's only important because later on she comes back, tells her that Pie Carr was, quote, always trying to sell him something and tried to sell him everything but his wife. So I don't know if he was trying to sell shit. I don't know the level of redneckery we're dealing with. If we're just they're trying to I'll try George. If he don't want, I'll go to the pawn shop. Yeah. I don't know if that works.
I found this down by the creek. I don't know what it is, but I think it's worth $5.
You want it? I'll take $4.50. So they said as he continued talking, George seemed to get more and more agitated about it, just talking about the cars. He also told FBI agent, because now the FBI is involved because we have a poisoning, tampering with things. The FBI gets involved in that shit. Deal. Yeah, anybody tampering with a product that goes on a shelf, they're going to get involved in that real quick. This guy, he says that George tells this guy that the cars had not been friendly to him or his wife, and that Pie tried to take advantage of them by selling them a barbecue cooker that Pie had made. I don't know if he's making shopping cart jerk chicken or what over there.
50-gallon drum he sawed in half.
I made it.
Yeah.
There, look at that now. I don't have any fucking idea.
Put a fire in it.
Yeah, it is. Jesus Christ. He said they also got mad because George made an oral agreement to buy Pie's workshop that's behind their houses for $10,000, but then Pie backed out of the deal, pissing George off greatly.
He's like, I don't want to sell it now.
Yeah, and George thought they had a done deal. He's already making plans back there, and now he's not going to sell it. George complained about the tons of people always coming and going from the house with teenagers and people like that. And he said all of them have trucks in and out with all these big trucks.
It's Florida.
They said that George acted angry and exhibited animosity, and which they said that this was, he was talking about shit that happened in 1982.
Fuck.
And they said that it was the FBI agent thought it was unusual since the incidents were years old, like 7 years old, and he's still like, that fucking they didn't sell me the workshop in 81.
I started buying all this shit to make meth. I got all this thallium. What am I going to do with it now?
Now what? Jesus Christ. So he's a suspect, obviously, but they it's all circumstantial, and they need to find some evidence here. That would help. So in April 89, there's an article in the newspaper advertising events for the Mensa organization, of which George and Diana are members.
Right.
The article discusses an upcoming Mensa murder weekend.
What?
Which is a murder mystery thing that they're going to have, where it's you play roles and all that shit. Murder mystery.
Yeah.
You know how it works. We did an episode on one a few weeks ago.
I've done one as
Maryland.
Right.
Yeah. It's awful.
It's stupid.
Yeah. So this particular event, George and Diana are the hosts. So it's at a Holiday Inn.
Yep.
And it's
all class.
It's at a Holiday Inn.
Yeah.
And they're going to have it there, and they're the ones hosting it, so they have to write the story and do all the shit and get everything ready for this murder mystery.
Yeah.
Okay? So now Susan Gorick, who's a special agent with the Sheriff's Department, who we talked about here, she starts an undercover investigation by attending the event under an assumed name. She just goes totally undercover under the name Sherry Gwynn. Okay? She joins the Mensa thing and does the whole deal, right? So she's trying to figure out how to get close to them. Her other Sheriff's Department people said, quote, "You won't have any luck confronting him." And this is from her book, and I'll give the name of it at the end here. She said, you've got to get him in a way that he won't find threatening. He's not going to, confrontation isn't his thing. So they said on the phone, they talked about doing something undercover and doing that, and that maybe that would work. So they said that they had another woman they were going to do it who was good at undercover, but they said that Tripal would be too smart and would believe that she's very attractive and intelligent. Just was like she said, she's a glamorous looking blonde.
She's too pretty to be that smart.
And they said that he would basically, George would know that this lady wouldn't want to hang out with him and talk to him.
Okay.
So that she's too good.
Right.
George is too smart. He's going to go, she's not, has no interest in me.
Right.
It's got to have somebody that's more kind of in his ballpark. So they said they're trying to figure it out. So they find Susan Gorick here, and she meets them at the Mensa murder weekend. Gorick meets George and Diana, and they hit it off because she's good at this. She knows what she's doing. And Diana works long hours, so George and Sherry start hanging out together by themselves. And she says that she would play into his intellectual pride and his vanity. She'd encourage him to brag about what he's done in the past and shit like that, and what a smart guy he is. She said she tried to be careful, though. She said if they were eating in a restaurant and she got up to go to the bathroom, she wouldn't eat anything else when she came back to the table.
Clever.
She wouldn't touch a fucking thing.
Yeah.
She just didn't know. Maybe they knew and they were going to poison her.
Yeah.
What the fuck does she know? She doesn't want to get poisoned. So they did the Mensa murder weekend here.
Also, she might trip on acid after.
That's the other thing. Yeah. She knows about that
right.
shit. It's all in the records. So they found out, they do at the Holiday Inn, the murder weekend. There's 4 murders acted out during the weekend. Okay. That's how they do it. The participants act out their different roles. The story had something to do with voodoo, apparently. It's like a voodoo thing. The murders they called them very sophisticated. Each one of the 4 were preceded by the victim receiving a threatening note. Interesting. Now, Diana wrote the murder scenarios with George's help. They did it together here. George himself wrote a booklet given to all the participants of this that discussed poisoning and threats by neighbors.
Wow.
Okay. It said, listen to this. This is a quote from the fucking booklet. This is after all this happened.
Yeah.
Quote, "Few voodooists believe they can be killed by psychic means, but no one doubts that he can be poisoned. When a death threat appears on the doorstep, prudent people throw out all their food and watch what they eat. Hardly anyone dies from magic. Most items on the doorstep are just a neighbor's way of saying, I don't like you, move or else."
What the fuck?
Are you kidding me? How ballsy is this? So, wow, this is fucking crazy. So,
this is like OJ writing a book. How I did it, how I got away with it.
But right afterwards, like while the trial, before they even arrested him. Let me talk about this. How I would butcher an ex-wife. Here it goes. How I'd almost cut a woman's head off, and I don't like waiters. So she Jesus Christ. During the weekend, George and Diana tell the special agent here, that they were planning to move and that they might be selling their home in Alturas. Gorick so the agent here tells George that she would like to look at the home if it's for sale, because she's looking for a place around there. So, hey, I'll check it out.
Invites her in to look around.
So this is what I mean.
Yeah.
So a few days after this, Agent Gorick, she's Sherry now, we'll just call her Sherry, she goes to the home talking about buying it and all that type of shit. And then she visited a bunch of more times in May and June of 1989. She became friends with them and basically learned a lot about them, learned that George was very interested in botany and knew a lot about poisonous plants as well. She really got in easy with them. She said it wasn't hard for her to spend time with George alone because he was up to talking to her and lonely because Diana was gone a lot, and she would encourage him she played to his ego, basically. It's the old Eddie Murphy joke where they say you just got to play to a man's ego, and you could get any man to like you. You just got to cater to his ego because we're stupid.
You'll get
That's how we are.
out of him, too.
We're dumb, and if someone plays to our ego, we go, that must mean I'm really great.
Right.
And then we just think that because we're idiots. That's how it works.
You tell him that his dick is huge in every different way.
It's fine.
Right.
You have to say
Your arms are giant.
one time. Any different time. You have to say it once. You could mention, I think your dick is a little above average in size, and he'd be like, she thinks my dick is huge. It's amazing.
I'm going to marry her.
Fucking broad is just head over heels for me. We're dumb. So she said that he never admitted anything, but she found several clues around the house. During one visit, she noticed an Agatha Christie novel lying on the table, which was The Pale Horse, which was about thallium poisoning.
Really?
Yeah. The novel's murderer used thallium to poison the victims. And at one point, while they were friends, Sherry was saying that she was getting a divorce from her husband. George suggested that she should poison her husband to get what she wanted out of the divorce settlement. She also found out that he made homemade wine, and he owned a tool that can uncap and recap bottles. So yeah, she's finding out quite a bit of shit here. So they expect this to last a few months and they'll get him, but he's very smart and he never confesses to anything. So this ends up going on for 2 years, this operation. In November 89, George and his wife move out. They move to Sebring, Florida. So from December 89 to January 90, Sherry Gwynn or Gorick rents their house. So the instant she gets the keys, they just tear it apart as a crime scene at that point. It's, December 12th, 89, they come in with the full team and investigate and search the whole thing. They found FBI agent found a brown bottle inside a drawer, a small drawer in a workbench in a workbench in George's detached garage. In this uncapped bottle, he saw some residue in it, so they sent it to the lab and it came back positive for thallium. That's what the powder was in there. So that's not a good thing.
Throw that shit out.
Apparently he'd leave it behind when he moves. That's
what
crazy.
A dummy.
So they execute search warrants here. They find, now this is, after all of this, they go arrest him, we'll talk about, at his place in Sebring, and they search that place as well, and we'll talk about this. They find that the thallium in the garage at their home in Alturas. They find a homemade journal on poisoning in George's home in Sebring, where they were, including literature about thallium and medical examination procedures. It's literally like he made a journal of how to poison people.
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy.
How to murder with it.
Laboratory equipment at the Sebring home, chemicals, and a small amount of what they believed to be meth. He's making meth again, too. That's why he has thallium, because he was making meth again. Also, they found, this is weird, a secret soundproof room and equipment for apparent use in torture and bondage in the basement.
What the fuck?
He had a
a
soundproof torture bondage room. Now, I would say maybe him and his wife were just kinky. Wouldn't need to be soundproof, then, would it?
Right.
Because it's all voluntary.
Unless you don't want the neighbors to hear.
Hey, you know what? Voluntary shit does not need to be soundproof generally.
True.
That's just a thing. You know what I'm saying?
Scream it up.
Scream it up. We're married. We're adults. Who cares what the fuck anybody says? I'd be like,
fuck her crazy.
I fuck her good. That's right.
That's why she sticks around.
Yeah, she told me I had a big dick, too. What? She's not lying. Don't say that. So that's weird.
Yeah.
Anytime you find a soundproof room with fucking bondage and torture shit, weird.
It's a weird dude.
Fucking weird.
Yeah.
Sorry. Do whatever you want with shit, but soundproof makes it weird at that point.
That's the step. Yeah, that's the step that puts it beyond.
That makes it fucked up. So, they obviously talk about, they think now that they probably killed the dogs back then. So, wow. The reaction to all this, people are, it's weird because they're not surprised, but they're also kind of perplexed by the whole thing. Like, but why? It just doesn't make sense. They also talk about Diana. They said the weird thing is they said the family thought Diana was the problem, not George.
Right.
They were all about Diana. They said the teenage boys, Dwayne and Travis, they said that they had some run-ins with Diana where they would she asked to turn the music down and they would turn it up. They'd set off fireworks on purpose. They'd ride their four-wheelers on the property and basically try to piss Diana off was their whole thing. They said though, but even though Diana had a big temper, the kids all thought George was a nice guy. Yeah. They all liked George, which is weird. The boys said that George would smile and wave at him when he'd see him outside and shit like that. They said they, quote, considered him a bit of a recluse and a nerd, but harmless. Yeah. That wasn't what they didn't think anything was about.
Always asked us if we had a Coke today.
Oh, so good to us. You should drink Coke. It's good for you. Just have at least one or two a day. Don't worry. If you don't have any, it'll just show up in your fridge. Jesus Christ. So, yeah, they talked about the permits and all that shit. So George, on April 5th, 1990, is finally arrested. More than a year after Peggy's dead and everything like that. He is indicted on 1 count of first-degree murder, 6 counts of attempted first-degree murder.
Everybody,
because he could have killed everyone in the house.
They all had thallium.
7 counts of poisoning food or water, and 1 count of tampering with a consumer product.
All right.
Bad shit. It's 15 counts in all. It's a lot. They searched also in more shit they found. They found a Merck index of chemicals and drugs. They found in his possession here. Handbook of Chemistry and Physics, which contained chemical information on thallium, which it also contained information on every other chemical. Yeah. The Fire Protection Guide on Hazardous Materials, which contained a selection on thallium compounds. They also seized that. Also a pamphlet written by Trapal called Chemistry for the Complete Idiot, Practical Guide to All Chemistry, with pictures and index. Many chemicals, chemistry-related glassware and equipment, and the homemade journal described as a, quote, general poison guide. Fuck. A lot. Also photocopied pages from a book entitled Poison Detection in Human Organs. One of the photocopied pages included a discussion on thallium. The journal was tested for fingerprints, and it was found to have George's on it, and Diana's are nowhere to be found anywhere on the journal.
They're just his.
This is his private thing that he's into here. It also contained photocopied pages from another book with a section titled Death by Poison Synopsis. 1 page from the journal, which was read to the jury at court, said, quote, determining whether a person died as a result of natural illness or as a result of poisoning is one of the most difficult types of investigation for both the officer and the medical expert, because you have to look for a specific thing. Yeah. It's not normal to do. Most people that die like that die of the flu or die of natural causes. Right. 99.999% of the time it's not thallium, so you can't just test everyone for thallium.
And owning this stuff just proves it's. If I read that, I'd throw it away. And this man has just dozens of things.
All photocopies.
Everything about it.
Some of the photocopies in the journal were made from a library at the Central Piedmont Community College in Charlotte, North Carolina, where he attended the Central Piedmont Community College from 74 to 75. He's had this shit for 15 years.
Wow.
So it's crazy. Also, The Pale Horse, which it's a fucking novel. Yeah. But still, I mean, it's irrelevant in this case.
Buy that at the grocery store, though.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Anyone could buy that. So they test everything. They have to test. They test a lot of he challenges a lot of the Coca Cola testing, the testing of the bottles. Basically, they said they had to do different. They had different samples. They tested the samples sent from the cars home, including the washings from empty Coca-Cola bottles, to see if there was residue in there. They used 2 instruments here to. Wow, let's talk about the. Want to know what instruments you use for something like that?
I'd like to know.
It's an inductively coupled plasma atomic emission spectrometer, which sounds like something you catch ghosts with.
Yeah.
It sounds like what the Ghostbusters used.
It's a trap. You got to stomp on it.
You got to stomp on it and shoot a green thing at it, and it comes in.
It essentially tests the chemical composition of the air that's inside the bottle.
Yeah,
right.
And also a graphite furnace atomic absorption spectrometer. You got to have one of those. You have one of those at your house, right?
Spectrometers. I get
if you don't have one, I'll get you one for Christmas, because I have a couple. I use them all the time, so I'll get you one for Christmas. I know. You know what, dude? Not another word.
Got you.
Not another word. It's all yours. Also, they test for the certain metals there. They chemically decompose any other ions or elements in association with the metal, so they cannot indicate what compound of thallium was present in the samples. The washings from the empty Coke bottles were positive for thallium, as were urine samples, obviously there. So then the FBI took it. They took 3 full bottles of Coke. They sent them to the FBI lab. There, they had an analytical chemist with the elemental analysis unit of the FBI lab. This shit sounds serious. Yeah. They're using spectrometers of all different furnace atomic absorption plasma. Fucking holy shit. This is crazy stuff that I'm not qualified to talk about, so I'm just going to read things, because I try to understand it, but I mean, I'm trying to get a whole murder case and remember Peggy's name, for Christ's sake. I can't also study chemistry in a week. I can't do it.
And memorize the names of the equipment used
I can't do it. I can't do it all in a week. I can't. I'm just going to
it's too much.
I'm not, what else do you want from me here? Come on, Jesus. So the empty Coke bottles, they were also there with the washings and everything like that. The washings from the empty Coke bottles contain thalliums in the following amounts: 4.32 milligrams, 3.65, 2.08, and 0.62. So now the garage sample here, they tested what they found in that brown bottle in his garage. It consisted of 640 milligrams of beige-colored, dirty white crystalline material or powder, and they found thallium in the compound there. Now they testify in court to this, all their methodology and all of how they do their scientific shit, which if I'm on a jury and you're explaining atomic fucking blah, blah, blah,
plasma,
just tell me how it came out.
Yeah.
Because you could explain till the cows come home how chemistry works, and I'm not going to understand it.
No.
So the court just told me that you're an expert and you know what you're talking about. I'm going to take that at face value.
Confirmed? Yeah or nay?
Confirmed.
Yeah.
I don't fucking know what you're doing here. So yeah. He first tested the bottle, this Martz guy. He says that he performed I'm not even going to pronounce that test, on all 3 samples and got a blue color, which he says indicated the solution contains a nitrate.
Yeah.
And he testified, he said, he knew that. Yeah, totally. When I'm doing that, it's
totally pregnant.
It's pregnant, and it also contains a nitrate. So based on the test, I concluded the thallium nitrate was added to the Coca Cola. So, on cross-examination, the guy admitted that he did not 100% exclude the possibility that nitrate he found in the Coca-Cola may have come from another source other than thallium, that salt that was added, but he found nothing else in the Coca-Cola to indicate anything else was present. So, they're trying to pick holes in his story here, obviously. So they said that the brown bottle with white powder in it from his garage, he was asked to identify it, and he says the powder, using infrared and X-ray diffraction, XRD, concluded the brown bottle contained thallium. Also, they said he didn't measure quantitatively the amount of the substance of the bottle, but based on the test, nothing else was identified. So in that, whatever that compound was, there was plenty of thallium in it, is basically what they were saying. Powder weighed 64 grams, which is a little more than 2 aspirin tablets or 1 extra strength Tylenol.
That's a lot.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a fuckload of poison. So also they did testing at the Coca-Cola corporate laboratory, because Coke wanted to make sure this shit didn't come from us, because that could be bad for business, obviously. So they did the same thing. They added thallium compounds to bottles of Coca-Cola to see which would dissolve. Basically, they added dissolved thallium malonate, thallium formate, thallium phosphate, and thallium sulfate to the Coca-Cola and recapped the bottle. When they finished, the Coca-Cola and the recap bottle looked exactly the same as before, as they were doing experiments. Later, they did performance tests using thallium nitrate, different forms of it, and one of the forms of thallium nitrate looked normal. The other one didn't dissolve well and gave a brownish brownish, muddy color to the bottom of the thing. It would settle to the bottom, they said. But the beverage looked substantially different, lighter in color. It was just different. It changed the compound of the Coke. But the other ones just looked just dissolved. Yeah. Looked perfectly fine. So yeah, there's evidence that and they said there's evidence that these bottles were uncapped and recapped, the ones that Peggy drank and everything like that. So a lot of evidence here. The trial comes up. The trial goes from January 7th to February 7th, 91. The state calls more than 70 witnesses.
Wow.
All the background people, the neighbors talking about different things. Then they have to bring in all of these chemists and FBI people and people from Coke to make sure that the Coke people say they investigated didn't come from their end. And,
well, there's so much information that you've got to dispute and actually prove, and you got to do that with professionals.
Yeah. And George, he's got 3 attorneys, private attorneys. Yeah. Isn't not a public defender.
Money.
Yeah, no, they have money. She's a doctor. Yeah. He does fine. He's a meth. He made meth, he does well. They called no witnesses.
He called none.
None. They relied on evidence that they got during just cross-examination. They tried to poke holes in other people's shit.
Right.
That's the way they were going to do this. So
he's going to make he doesn't think the case is strong enough. He thinks he's smarter than them.
He thinks he's smarter, and they all think, well, this is circumstantial, and we can just poke holes in it, and it'll be reasonable doubt.
Yeah.
They're thinking they can OJ this situation, and it's not like that.
It's a little more difficult.
He's not a beloved national figure, unfortunately, for that. So,
how many Naked Gun movies you been in, George?
Yeah, let's go. Hey, Nordberg. Oh, no, you're not Nordberg? Never mind, then. Jesus Christ. How many yards rushing did you have in 1973? So, several witnesses also testified about his chemistry experience that went back for decades, old friends he knew and shit like that. A DEA agent, Richard Broughton, testified that in the mid-70s, George was the chemist and mastermind with a group of people that produced methamphetamine. His David Warren, who was Trapal's partner in the methamphetamine production scheme, testified to his role as a chemist, saying how smart he was and how he knew what to do with chemicals. They said that his meth production experience was relevant because thallium nitrate was used in the process that he used it in, basically. And they went over that. The P2P process, they said, is when the P2P is produced, a sediment drops out of the solution. That sediment is thallium nitrate. The P2P is then used to manufacture amphetamine, and the thallium nitrate is disposed of. It's like if you cook, never mind.
It goes away fast.
Yeah, I'm not going to get into it, but if you cook certain things, that's how it works. So, another witness said that George kept chemicals and other chemistry equipment in his garage. A builder of his, Calvin Adams, who did some work for Trapal and his wife when they moved into the home in 82 and helped them with the move, noticed that one of the items he helped move into the garage was a plastic milk carton filled with chemical bottles. He said there was 4 or 5 boxes of chemicals and chemical bottles and other chemistry items. Some of the chemicals were in brown bottles, like the one they found the thallium in.
Right.
He also asked Trapal what he was doing with the chemistry items, and George replied, "I'm a chemist. I intend to set up a laboratory in the garage."
Yeah.
Okay. Meth guy.
You almost called him RuPaul.
RuPaul says that'd be great.
Yeah.
RuPaul. It'd be good if it was RuPaul fucking killing his neighbors and making meth. So, he said that Trapal also had an antique bottle capper, which is used to affix the metal caps on the glass bottles.
Right.
It's not a common thing for people to have.
No.
And George just told him that he sometimes made wine for himself and capped the wine bottles. That was his excuse for that. Also, his chemistry collection at the time of his arrest included many what they called exotic and dangerous chemicals. An analytical chemist for the Florida Department of Law Enforcement said a bunch of the chemicals chemicals included sodium cyanide, barium chloride, cobalt nitrate, potassium ferrocyanide, chromium trioxide, platinum oxide, lead chloride, and uranium oxide, all of which are very toxic.
Yeah.
Got a bunch of shit.
That's a lot of bad stuff.
Sounds like a whole bunch of disgusting shit he's got in there that most people wouldn't have in their place. So the jury, when this is over, he puts up no defense except for cross-examination. They deliberate for 6 hours, and after 6 hours, they find him guilty of pretty much everything. It's everything. All 15 counts. Guilty. Most important one, though, first-degree murder.
Yeah.
Guilty there.
That's Florida, babe.
That's dangerous.
You're
going down.
Yeah.
They said, the prosecutor after the verdict said, quote, "Here's a man who thought he was so smart he could literally get away with murder. I think he actually believed because of his intellectual level he would never be found out."
Yeah.
Yeah, he thought, they don't know
He believes he could beat everybody because he's in fucking Mensa.
Yeah, I'm smarter than them. They're all dumb.
Right.
There's a bunch of rednecks down here.
I'm the professional.
Yeah, they're a bunch of redneck shit kickers. What do they know down here? So in the penalty phase, the state calls Dr. Richard Hostler. He's a neurologist who treated Peggy and talks about the pain Peggy experienced from it, including intense burning sensations and losing her fucking speech and, going blind and shit like that. Bad things.
Right.
And also they give his aggravators. He's arrested and convicted of methamphetamine in 1975. He's already been in jail. They do say that he has no other record of criminal convictions and he doesn't have a history of violent behavior. He also calls no witnesses for mitigation either. He
what
just
is he doing?
I don't know what he said. I don't need to. Right. The jury comes back after 1 hour. They vote 9-3 to recommend the death penalty for him.
Shit.
So
does it have to be unanimous?
It does not in Florida back
shit.
then. So that nowadays that's a weird. They've changed. The Supreme Court has had different things, and they're trying to figure that out. But he says, the trial court here, that's what they recommend. So now the judge has to do it, and he says, "You, sir, may fuck off, death penalty for first-degree murder, and then concurrent 90-year sentences on all the remaining things." So concurrent all the same time, but he's got death plus 90 years, which is a lot. That's a fuckload.
It's over, George.
Yeah, that's not good. It's a lot of fucking death there.
Wow.
Oof. He appeals to the Florida Supreme Court and everything else. He said the evidence was insufficient to support a first-degree murder conviction, and this Florida Supreme Court affirms his convictions and his death sentences right away. They talked to some jurors after the appeals, and the jurors have no doubt about it, the ones that put him away. One guy's name is Mike Monin. He's one of these jurors. He said, quote, "I never doubted that the jury made the right decision." He says, "I was one of the last ones to roll over. To me, it was his journals that convicted him." Because they said it was in his handwriting. The guy said, quote, "He wrote about it, then he did it."
The man knows way too much about this.
Well, and
he says he could do it.
Yeah, he literally, in his journals, there was point exactly what he did.
Right.
He had written out, "This is how you do, this is how you kill people." So they were like, this guy was one of the last ones to roll. He was ready to vote not guilty, but those fucking journals, you just don't keep you just don't keep a detailed, journal of your goddamn crimes, maybe you won't get caught. So another juror says he thinks about the trial, but he never questions his decision. He says he was guilty, no doubt about it. Another retired elementary school teacher said, quote, "I didn't make up my mind until the end when we started deliberating. There's one thing I've never forgotten. When we announced him guilty, he looked at the jury and he smirked. There were jurors in tears over this, and he smirked at us. I just assumed that he was smug about the whole thing and he thought he would get away with it."
Yeah.
So that's a weird reaction.
That is a weird. That you may think so, but I'll get out of it.
Exactly. She said the jurors, it was heavier on them than on him. So he's like, what an asshole. He doesn't even care. So he appeals again in 95, the Supreme Court. That's when they uphold his conviction and sentence. And 97, though, there's an issue. 97, the Federal Office of Inspector General is issues a scathing report detailing problems in the FBI's crime lab, citing its handling of evidence, specifically in the Tripal case, as an example of its shoddy work. So now he's got shit to appeal on. And basically what he appeals on, we'll get to that in 1 second. He's in prison there. And we'll find out what George does in prison, because that's kind of fun. George in prison's fun.
How's he feel about radios?
Just doesn't belong there.
Has it gotten any better?
Right. A friend of his named Stuart Prince says that he spends his days reading and writing letters. He says he does a pretty good job of having something to do. He's still trying to keep a good mind. He does lament that there are very few people in his wing who are anywhere near his level of education or intellect. Yeah, it's prison, stupid.
Right.
You're in with people who are dumb and get arrested and are sent there for stupid shit. Jesus Christ, 1996.
He can't tell anybody to turn on the radio or move out of the fucking cell block.
Yeah, move out of the cell block. Nope. Dr. Diana divorces him in 1996.
Oh, shit.
She was really standing by him up until then.
Yeah.
She also appears in some television, murder documentary story thing. She appears in it in 2000. So you can find her on that.
Up to now.
Pretty
recent anyway.
So George says that, this Prince guy says that Prince's wife, Sue, are the only people that visit George, the only people on his visitation list.
Really?
No, he has no kids.
That's a good point. There's only two people that give a shit.
Two people, and they're friends of his that don't have to give a shit. Yeah. Prince is also in Mensa, and he said he met George through the group a few years before this whole thing happened. He lives in a 6-foot by 9-foot cell with no air conditioning in Florida, and he eats his meals in there in that shitty little room that now stinks like prison food.
Oh my god!
Showers every other day. He can go to the exercise yard twice a week for 3 hours at a time, but he always declines to go. He never goes because you get beat up out there.
Yeah.
He also says the state allows him to have a 13-inch television in his cell, which he had to buy himself. Inmates don't get cable, so it's whatever you get. He's a big reader. He says that this guy says he sends books to George all the time, and you have to do it from online booksellers. You can't send it, obviously.
Approved ones.
You can't send them shit. It has to be from the company that sends it to him.
That makes sense.
Yeah, you can't hide things in it. He says he gets books through the prison library system. He says that George still professes his innocence, and he says he holds no animosity, though, to people who sent him to prison. Prince says, quote, he's a nice guy and he didn't do the crime. Why would he? There's no reason for him to kill those neighbors. He was moving away, so why kill neighbors just before he leaves? It makes no sense. It makes much more sense for someone else to do this crime that he described and has all the shit to do. And
I don't know. It kind of sends a message that, I'm not to be fucked with.
Yeah, I feel like that's what it was. He put up with shit for that long, and he was like, I'm going to kill them right before I leave.
Right.
To say, ha, got you, motherfuckers.
Also, it looks
mic
less
drop.
like he would do it.
Yeah, I feel like it's a mic drop moment for him. Like, yeah, I got him. I couldn't move away and let them think they won.
Right.
Like they drove me out of here.
Right.
I'll kill them
Looks
first.
like I can get away with it if I run. It gives me an out.
Fucking crazy. So 2011 is the next appeal. This has to do with the FBI lab shit. Okay, shoddy work had an impact on 3,000 cases. But basically what they do is they say the main crux of it was when they tested it for thallium, the liquid's supposed to turn blue, okay?
Yeah.
And they said in court that this Martz guy testified in court that when they tested it, the liquid turned blue. He knew it was thallium. What he failed to mention, though, is that there are other chemicals that also make the liquid blue.
Meth?
That are, I don't know what it was, but whatever the chemicals are, just different chemicals that are non-toxic, some are this, some are that. They also will make a blue reaction.
Got it.
It's not just the thallium.
Okay.
So that was a big deal that they tried to make out of this. So this appeal is all about this shit. Was all the lab work a problem, and that's enough to overturn his case here. So this is going on, and for years he's building this appeal. From 97, when that report comes out, to 2011, they're building this appeal up, right? Now, Dwayne Dubberly,
right,
one of the boys there, he says he wishes every day that his mother could know that he's had a good life there and all this type of shit. Pi Carr says he's ready to witness George get killed here.
Oh, he wants to see it?
Oh, he wants to see it. He says, quote, I still want to be there when he's executed, but I don't have anything to say to him. I don't think I could control myself if I was to talk to him. No shit. Yeah. Killed your wife and tried to kill your kids and you.
Tried to kill all of you.
Your grandkid, everything else. So they said that they are convinced of his guilt, but that Stuart Prince guy, he says he's innocent. George is innocent. He says, quote, George is not the sort of person that would do that. I've never known him to Jesus Christ. I've never known him to be anything approaching violent. A few years ago, someone beat him up in the exercise yard and he just stood there.
He just took it.
He just got his ass kicked.
Maybe he's just a pussy.
Yeah, I was going to say, it sounds like he's just a pussy. That
sounds
doesn't mean...
also like he didn't have thallium on him.
I was going to say also his profile doesn't do well with direct confrontation. So he'll then go poison that guy. That's how it works. Now, Sherry Gorick, Sherry, she goes, Sherry Gwynn, not Gorick. Gorick is her real last name there. She ended up writing a book with a guy named Jeffrey Good, who's with the St. Petersburg Times, and it's called Poison Mind. Hilarious. About this whole thing. So if you want to read about that. But they go into that whole thing, and the court says even with the faulty, even if those labs didn't exist, We know that he had some thallium because that was a definite. Maybe there was different, whatever. The rest of it's still enough to convict him and to sentence him to death. He had journals.
And they're hanging on to it.
Shit. Fucking appeal denied, regardless of the fucking shit. They were like that's just like a cherry on top. All the lab work. We didn't even need that to convict you because none of the jurors were like, it was that lab work. They said it was him writing that he fucking wanted to do it, so they didn't even need it.
No, sure, we'll take that out, and you're still fucked.
You're still fucked. 2013, he is trying to go to the United States Supreme Court because when the Florida State Supreme Court denied his habeas appeal on that, he only had the Supreme Court to go to, and that was it. And they denied him.
Oh, shit.
They put it on the docket in 2012 and was officially denied in 2013. They say we conclude he is not entitled to relief. Legally translated, that means eat dicks.
Yes, it
basically,
does.
From legal to layman terms here.
Valium if you want.
Or eat some thallium, either one. But yeah, that's how it is. And he remains on death row, awaiting execution. I guess the normal time, usually it is, I believe, 13.7 years is the average time somebody spends on death row. 12.7 years is the average time people spend awaiting execution in Florida. And he passed that a long time ago.
Oh, okay. So you're going to include that stuff as well.
Well, Christ, he's been on death row, since 1991.
18 years,
so it's been
91?
91, 28 years. He's been on death row.
Wow.
There are people there that have been there even longer. There's people who have been in there since the 70s, still going through all this shit. Yeah. So,
but his is done and over.
His is done.
They're just waiting on the chemicals to be approved.
They're waiting. Yeah, they're waiting to. Who knows? I'm sure it's Florida. There's a long line.
He's got a number.
So every time once his appeal denies, he probably goes back to the end of the line again. That's probably how it works. And especially with the Supreme Court thing, and now he goes to the end of the line. So maybe they'll kill this guy someday. I don't know. They should say your last meal, here's a Coke. And then just walk out of the room.
Have a sip.
Yeah, he just got you one Coke.
He's got to be in his 60s, right?
He's born in 1949.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus. He's 70.
He's pushing 70.
Wow.
He's 70 now this year, right? 50 and 70.
That's right.
He's 70. Yeah. 70 right now. Right now, he's 70 years old. So they're going to execute an old man.
Probably not.
Well, maybe he'll die there. Either way, he's going to fucking die.
Yep.
And I'm not upset about it.
Me neither.
It's all good.
That's like a fucking nightmare, and a real absolute nightmare that could possibly even happen.
It's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
It's more than a nightmare. It's next level insanity.
Unfathomable that your neighbor could just do that to your whole family.
Your whole fucking family. So, but they do, and they did, and that's what happened. So
oftentimes they don't get away with it.
No, well, let's hope not.
Yeah.
So that is that. That is goddamn Jesus Christ, Alturas, Florida.
Arsenic, Florida.
And the Tripals and poor Peggy Carr.
Wow.
Pie and Peggy Carr.
Poor things.
So, they that's that for them. So that, Jesus Christ, if you like that show and you want George to die, you can tell us about it. Get on Apple Podcasts and give us 5 stars. It doesn't matter what you say. And say you're following instructions, following directions. Doesn't matter to us. We'll take whatever you got. But please do that. Get on there. It helps us out tremendously. Also, go to shutupandgivememurder.com for everything small town murder and crime and sports related. Don't forget crime and sports. You do not have to like sports. Listen to that and check it out. Also, follow us on social media so you can get our tickets to this shows. We're going to announce all our cities here in a second.
Yeah.
The tickets there, social media, I'm sorry, is it is at Small Town Pod on Facebook, at Murder Small on Twitter, at Small Town Murder on Instagram. And we are coming to so many cities this year. Oh, my goodness. Here's the list. This is not going to give dates. This is just all the cities. No discernible order. Denver, Salt Lake City, San Francisco, Detroit, Cincinnati, Indianapolis, Louisville. Holy shit, going to Kentucky. Going to Louisville. Hey, that's Hunter Thompson and Muhammad Ali.
Hell yeah.
Fuck yeah. Good shit there. Nashville, of course, you guys know about in April. Austin, Texas, coming back there. Oklahoma City, Boston, and New York coming back. Of course, we love Boston and New York. Atlanta, New Orleans we're going to this year. That's new. Seattle and Portland coming back to the Pacific Northwest. San Jose and Sacramento.
Yeah.
Sacramento, we told you we'd come back to you, goddammit. Coming to see you guys there. there. St. Louis, Kansas City. We got San Diego, an LA show, Washington, D.C., Philly, Dallas, Houston, San Antonio. We're doing 4 Texas cities. Do you understand that? That is way too many Texas cities. Minneapolis, of course, Chicago we have to come back to. Cleveland, we're coming back to Cleveland.
God.
It smells like
damn it.
exhaust jizz, and we're coming back anyway. That's how great the crowd is there, and we love you guys. That is going to be at the Comedy Club, though, so get your tickets quickly on that one. Columbus, we're back in Pittsburgh, of course. Yeah. Coming back to Milwaukee, even though we're not even there yet.
Not yet.
We're going to fly right now.
Tonight.
Madison, of course, also. Wisconsin up there. I think I said St. Louis and Kansas City.
Yes.
Again. St. Louis will be a different venue. I promise you that.
Absolutely.
And that's going to be our list. And also Tampa and Orlando.
Yes.
And no discernible order there. We'll tell you all the dates, but that's a shitload of shows.
Those are all happening from January to December.
Well, February to December.
Well, yeah, January too.
I don't think there's
nothing
January.
in January.
Nothing in January.
But
they start in February.
From January.
They go on from there.
All of 2020.
All
we're
of 2020,
coming near you.
damn it. So we cannot wait. We're coming all over the place. Watch out for that. It's going to be gross.
Watch your toes.
So, thank you guys for doing all that. And if you want to, follow on social media, get those, because there's going to be a pre-sale and you get a code and all that, so you can get your tickets ahead of time.
Yes.
And I'm telling you, some of those comedy club ones,
it will be
you'll
so
find
fast.
out, they sell out in a fucking day.
Yeah.
That St. Louis show sold out in 2 hours, I think it was, or an hour or some crazy shit. It
Pittsburgh
was gone.
Was the fastest a show has ever sold at that club.
At the Pittsburgh Improv. Yeah, that's how awesome you guys are. Literally the fastest anyone's ever sold anything at the Pittsburgh Improv.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. That was amazing.
You guys make us look good at these places, and
they invite
that
us
matters
back.
to us. Yeah, they invite us back, but also the crowd being as polite as possible.
You guys are the shit. You guys are
just
awesome.
fucking amazing. You buy tickets, you show up, and you are on your best behavior.
So thank you for all of that. Right. We really can't thank you enough. If you want to become one of our producers, who we're going to talk about in just a moment, because goddamn it, are they important and we love them. You can do that very easily by going to patreon.com/crimeandsports, or you head over to PayPal, use our email address, crimeandsports@gmail.com. Every cent is appreciated, and we put out a bonus every other week on Small Town Murder as well for the $5 and above Patreon level, and all that good stuff. So you can get on there, and we'll throw in different bonuses here and there and do it up like that.
Keep it different, a little variety.
Yeah. That being said, Jimmy, I need the names of these people. You need to sprinkle them over me like a dose of thallium, please. Thank you.
This week's executive producers are Tanya Volanek, Jordan Bennett, Ariana Light, Jacqueline Hall, who donated both ways. Thank you so much, Jacqueline. Nick Beardsley, Luis Flores, Christina Hansen, Jeremiah Bueller, Ellie Kamek. You guys,
thank you guys for everything.
What you guys do for us is intense and
incredible.
We can't thank you enough. Thank you. That's what I have there.
Yeah. No.
We can't thank you enough, but thank you.
But thank you.
Other producers this week are James Snell, Chris McLeod, Allie Payne, Thomas Smith, Kara Barcroft, John with no last name, Deborah Pinto, Ronnie Kumar, Matthew Mitchell, John Lash, Billy Szynski, Alexis Blind Hour, I think, or Blindor, I don't know. Joseph Larson, RC Bodies by Jake, Beverly Henkel, Johnny Johansson, Sonny Johansson, Kimberly Radisky, Laura Burton, Ashley Vio, Melanie Kelly, Cody Owens, Jesse Hartman, Rachel Morgan, Ash Loveday, James Martyr, Patrick Sanders. Yes. Yeah. Sabrina Chavez, Daniel Perry, and Aaron Rulker, Lauren Day, Katie or Kate, Kayte, could be either or. Yeah, Ward Palmer, Will Slattery, Jasmine Sneed, Alex Warner, Robin Throckmorton, Liz Vasquez, and I'm so sorry, Liz. I'm so bummed that somebody took advantage of it.
I hope that gets resolved. I didn't follow up.
She can't.
There's nothing get resolved at all.
The bank sending her PayPal sending her to the banks.
Yeah, sorry. I'm so sorry. She's so cool, too. Yeah. We're very sorry. That sucks. Don't fuck each other over, please.
If they tweet to us that there are tickets available, we will retweet them, and that's, I guess, our best vetting.
That's all we can do.
That's all we can do. But if somebody
just
offers you tickets, don't do that.
I don't even know.
I'm so bummed about that. That makes me really angry. Nicole Rodney, Rodney or Rooney? I don't know which that is. Andrew Jones, Bryce Law, Lauren Botha, probably not Francis's or Francois. Probably not.
The
No.
guy who Tyson beat up.
Probably not. No. Jacob Schrag, Robin Anderson, Lucy Holland, Evie Schaefer, Peyton Meadows, Sandy Roberts, Joelle Nicole, Jude Kendall, Kate Newton, Mackenzie West, that's Trey Volkanar, Ryan Ashton, I think.
All
yes. Right. Mary Sullivan, Stephen Rude, Jason with no last name, Gamble with no last name, 107 dildos, Benji Young, Kitty Anderson, Talisha Welker, Kylie Miller, Dan Lanham. I think that's a real name.
Yeah, I think so.
I hope so. Reagan Shalkley, Brad Zermeta, Karen Kruger, Steve Schnell. Steve, thanks, brother.
Steve.
Andrew Vipond, Katie Peterson, Sinfully Delightful Clean Eating, Tanya Johnson, Penny Kier, Amy Pinella, probably not Lou's daughter.
Let's hope so.
Joe McCrary, Molly McCarthy, Jason Borghetti, Jill Lohan? Is that Lohan? Is Lindsay's mom named Jill? No.
Hey, you know what? We have a
Diana?
lot of famous siblings and kids today.
R. Finch, Candace Williams, Mark Davis, Dee Carter, Hayden.
Padres reliever, Mark Davis. Excellent.
Probably. Lori Ziegler, probably not Dolph's wife.
Probably not. See, this is so many this week.
Jennifer Karshner, Kay Spearman, probably not. Lorenzo? Was it Lorenzo Spearman? I think so. I think that's right.
Alonzo Spellman.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. All right, whatever. Chelsea Kravitz, probably not Lenny's daughter.
Chris Spielman.
Chris Spielman, that was the name.
Spielman and Lenny Kravitz's daughter.
Carly Palmero? No, Palmatiere.
Hey.
Okay, all right. I'll stop it now. Chris Hoffman, probably not Dennis.
Probably not. Probably not Dustin's son.
Right. Yeah. Brandy Hildebrand, Jennifer Fried, Oliver McKenzie, Sean McKinley, Dave Torok says the bottom line is life. The bottom is life? I don't know what that means, but it's
deep, man.
It really is.
Thank you.
Matt Sishoff, Jacqueline D, Thomas O'Connell, Daria Taumar.
One of those.
Robert Larson,
Probably.
Diana Michalski, Rio McCarthy, not sure. Jeff Thompson, Jennifer with no last name, David McGrath, Katie Fee, Tion Marsh, Casey Jones. Probably not.
Probably.
Amelia, Lindsay Bird, Jasmine Griffin, Christina Sherry, Raquel Quintero, Rachel Job, Tay Lamel, Adam King's brother-in-law had a birthday, and he didn't.
Stephen? Sorry.
But his brother made us those rings out of quarters.
Those are awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And Adam introduced himself to me in Minnesota as that's my brother-in-law. I fuck his sister.
Oh, I remember that.
Which is my favorite way of anybody's ever. Okay. Eric P, probably not your brother. Thomas Spade, Amber Legg, Casey Crow, and all of our patrons. You guys are the best.
Thank you guys so much for everything. Really, we just appreciate the shit out of you guys, and we cannot wait to see you at these live shows next year. This weekend is our last couple for this year, and we take 2 months off, and then we're back out there again. So thank you for everything this year that you've done. Everybody that's come to a show and bought a ticket, stayed to hang out and talk to us, or sat there and watched it. Thank you guys so much for all of that. Really, we appreciate it. And what if somebody appreciated you, Jimmy? How could they find you?
You can find me at Whisman Sucks, WHISMAN Sucks on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat. What about you?
You can find me at Jimmy P is Funny, or you just copy and paste my name from the show description and find me that way. It doesn't matter. Don't try to spell it yourself. That's just going to cause headaches.
It's silly.
It's silly. But with that said, everybody, you know what? It's been fun. We're getting toward the holidays here. We have to get on a plane to Milwaukee right now. So until next week, everybody, it's been our pleasure.
Bye.
like Small Town Murder, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
He was hip-hop's biggest mogul, the man who redefined fame, fortune, and the music industry.
The first male rapper to be honored on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, Sean Diddy Combs.
Diddy built an empire and lived a life most people only dream about.
Everybody know ain't no party like a Diddy party, so.
Yeah, that's what's up.
But just as quickly as his empire rose, it came crashing down.
Today I'm announcing the unsealing of a 3-count indictment, charging Sean Combs with racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, interstate transportation for prostitution.
I was up. I hit rock bottom, but I made no excuses. I'm disgusted. I'm so sorry.
Until you're wearing an orange jumpsuit, it's not real. Now it's real.
From his meteoric rise to his shocking fall from grace, from law and crime, this is the rise and fall of Diddy. Listen to the rise and fall of Diddy exclusively with Wondery Plus